Alright, what's up, chat gang? Welcome to RantCast. I am the magical Mr. Mephisto, the most dangerous man in Age of Sigmar. Joining me tonight, the Lord of Death. There are many imitators, but very few authentic Lords of Death like the man joining me tonight. How's it going, Brendan?
Good.
You're good.
I've been doing a lot of painting during lockdown because there are no tournaments to abuse people at over the weekend. So I have to prepare for that day so that I can choose from whatever my heart desires.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you also got to get prepared for what the 10,000 or 20,000 point battle. I can't remember what it is. You and Bryce.
Oh, I'm almost done.
Is it?
It's 20,000 points aside versus Bryce, Death versus Elves. I started before this with 15,000 points painted, and I've just been knocking out Flesh Eater Courts and Night Haunt, and I've been doing a little bit of OBR, but I had to stop because it's so detailed. It was becoming such a grind, but my Flesh Eater Courts are 100% contrast, and my Night Haunts are mostly Nilic Oxide, and then the red contrast paint looks really similar to the red I was using. So I just switched over to that, and then it's just a couple of different colors, and I mean, I can knock out some Blade guys no problem.
And as I understand it, this is going to go down sometime next year. And Ty and I are going to shoutcast what will probably be like a 3-day battle.
Oh, at least it's going to be something where we all get together Friday night, we deploy Friday night, and then Saturday at dawn, the dice go, and it's going to have to stop once once somebody starts collapsing, which will be me at about 10:30 p.m.
Yeah, well, that's where we just we could potentially use that against you. The Lord of Death has but one vulnerability, and that is he needs his beauty rest. Pants Mafia represent. Ho ho. Yeah. Pants Mafia in the house. 9-volt cat. How's it going, Christian? Actually, last weekend would have been Brew City Brawl.
Correct.
The third. So you've given it a new whimsical moniker there, as they all do. You want to take us through the evolution of Brew City's nomenclature?
Yeah, so Brew City Brawl 1 was just Brew City Brawl. Brew City Brawl 2 was Brew City Brawl 2, the search for Kurt Louis Gold. This time it's personal. And then I didn't have a catchy name for 3 until it was canceled. And all of a sudden it made sense. Brew City Brawl Three-oretical. So every event needs a name. I like what the Doors Below do in using Nicolas Cage movies, but I think it ends up being a little confusing because it's a different name every year for the same events. Mm-hmm. So I think you need the strong brand, and then you do the silly name on the backside.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it adds personality to the event, and I mean, you have a reputation as like a top table competitor constantly, but Brew City Brawl I think shows almost like a whimsy to it. My first experience was Brew City Brawl 2, and the name was okay, and then you had these awards. You want to kind of take us through a little bit of that, just kind of had Brew City Brawl 3 happened, what were people in for this year?
So, I really like to let my event be, markedly less serious than some of the other events, and especially now that I'm the Adepticon Champs TO, which is very vanilla, in the nature, it's just straight Warhammer, right? Nothing too wild, out of the book, missions out of the book, realms are very normal and conservative choices. Mm-hmm. I want Brew City Brawl to be the thing that's just kind of more fun. You look at it and you go, okay, I'm being incentivized to do some strange things. So, for instance, we have awards. The award that I am most proud of is the Snowflake Award, and this year I had finally figured out how to, the awards have changed all 3 years in physically what they are, and also, what some of them are for.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, the first place and Snowflake Award would have been these large beer barrels that would have been engraved with the logo. And the award that I most want people to play for is the Snowflake Award. And so what that is it's an army that goes at least 3-2 on the weekends, and is then selected from a group of secret voters to determine who wins that. And we're looking for an army that's unusual and unique in composition. Things like theme are particularly helpful in army composition, as well as the visual components. Like if it's all tied together and stuff like that. So the first year's winner was Andrew Careless with a Nagash list with just bats and dogs. Super weird. The winner from Brew City Brawl 2 was Domus with a Thunderscorn army. It was just all Dragon Ogres and Dragon Ogre Shaggoths. So that's what we're working on as the basis. And then I, have taken the advice that Alex Gonzalez hands out to people when they're looking to start up the events that they want to run is run the event that you want to play in. Mm-hmm. And as much as I love winning competitive games of Warhammer and things like that, I want to play in kind of a more strange game of Age of Sigmar, where the rules themselves are very normal, but the things that incentivize you to be less than normal are there. Mm-hmm. So I decided that we were going to do 2,500 points this year, mm-hmm. which to me says just automatically, great, there's not a meta at 2,500 points. You could literally just play your 2,000 point army, add a 500 point unit or battalion or whatever it is that you want to be doing, and you're done. But there are going to be people that look at 2,500 points and go, I want to build a list specifically for this.
Right. You're going to have the innovators that are going to want
to. Yeah. And I think we ended up getting a lot of lists that felt that way. There were some people that just took their 2,000 point list, added 500 points on. There were some people that built a very specific, kind of weird narrative 2,500 point list. And there were some people that said, okay, how do I, squeeze all of the blood from this rock at 2,500 points?
Yeah, and
but those were
we will be going through these lists. We will be going through these lists too. So because we did have people submitting lists as part of this Three-oretical. Mm-hmm. What it is both things you've described with the 2,500 points and events that run a little bit off kilter, a little less straightforward, is you're presenting a different stimulus, and so people have a new or a different problem to solve, which causes I feel like you get behind some of the cynicism of competitive play when the event is a little different, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. that cynical, I gotta bring the bare bone best thing I can, or there's a pressure to compete. Even if I'm not there to win at all, I don't want people to think I'm terrible. But it's when you disarm people, Havoc does this really well. The holy events do this really well. The tables kind of disarm you. You go I could bring the hardest list I have, and the tables can still ruin my day. So I might as well just bring the craziest list I have. And sometimes that's the same thing. With 2,500 points, you're really. I like the innovation aspect of it, but I also every time you get to that 2,000 point list, you're man, if I just had 100 more points, I could run everything I wanted. So you really get all these different sides of the coin. When my 2,500 point list was just going to be Nagash plus Catacross, 500 points to my 2,000. So I was going to be that horrible person, but it's a very I'm running my two favorite characters now. Why wouldn't I? I don't get an excuse to do that in any other format. And so that was going to be I was going to show up in full regalia and just RP the hell out of my army and speak in an old English accent or some shit. 2,500 points equals best time for Morghast list.
Not wrong.
But I kind of derailed you. So 2,500 points. We're seeing a range of lists, and you actually got some some stats that you compiled from the lists that were submitted?
Yeah, so this is something I did the first year, and people really liked it. So I did it for last year, and someone asked me to do it again this year with the theoretical lists, and I always forget like how much of a bear it is to break it down the way that I do, but it's always so super rewarding at the end to look at all of it. And the thing that was most important this year is I felt um, vindicated in my choice to go to 2,500 points, because I did get some pushback from people. There were folks who said that they just outright weren't going to attend. There were people concerned that 2,500 points was just going to push the filth. And I think the list we're going to look at, well, first the stats are going to show that, you know, this certainly wasn't people dialing their lists up to 11 and breaking the knob off. You know, this was people running what it is that they really want to run. And is some of it really good? Sure, of course. But overwhelmingly, I think that it was going to look like a lot of other Brew City events where the top 5 tables at the end of it are people, you know, punching each other's faces in. The bottom 5 tables were people who brought like really weird themey lists that they're having a blast playing regardless of the result. And then the middle is just a bunch of lists that, you know, could have played each other all the way through. So it was good to see. I think is the point I'd like to drive home. So I absolutely, for Brew City 3.1, am going to be doing 2,500 points. I do want to see it play out. I do want to see it happen. I do want to see it work. So,
well, there's a practicality aspect, a functionality aspect to 2,500 points too, where like you're playing with 500 extra points. You know, another quarter again of an army. So there's going to be a sort of a length to time. How did you approach that?
So it was a couple things. I believe it's Coach that runs a 2,500 point list.
Yeah, City GT.
A 2,500 point events down in Australia. And I looked at his pack. I picked his brain for a little bit. I played a couple 2,500 point games myself. And the thing that actually sold it for me was that if you look at the amount of time it takes to play a 1,000 point game, and then the points added for a 2,000 point game, and the way that time scales, if you added just that half hour for those 500 points, that matches pretty closely in the time that people expect you to be able to get through a 1,000 point game versus a 2,000 point game. So it's an extra hour between the two. So an extra half hour between those next 500 points made sense. Unfortunately, you know, it means that you're ending a little later on Saturday than you normally would, but it always feels like at the events that, you know, by the time you eat dinner and everything, it's 9:30 anyways, which is my bedtime. So, you know, what's the difference?
Right.
And then you have to start a little bit earlier on Sunday to get people going home at a normal time, because this is the Midwest. People do drive from 7+ hours away to go to events on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
So we'll deal with all the whinging. The people that want to go out drinking were going to be the ones that wanted to go out drinking regardless of the start time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you know, I mean, Jacob Berry gets half an hour less of beauty sleep under one of the tables. But Ty's pub crawl was going to be on the day before anyway, and we were actually going to have our own mini tournament there, I think.
Yeah, it was going to be Brew City Crawl, the Milwaukee Bar Crawl. So and Joe Pagano said he was going to come if we did that, but he didn't sign up. So Joe Pagano's a liar.
Thanks, G-Dad. Yeah, I'm G-Dad here in Chat Gang recognized that I'm rocking my Palladium Books Game Master shirt today. I love this shirt. So yeah, Joe Pagano confirmed liar. You heard it here first. RantCast 46. So you want to break down some of these stats for me then, or what?
Yeah. So let's go through the stats. So Just real top level for everybody, what I do is I try and get as much detailed resolution as I can in all the lists that people send me. Because people seem to think it's fun how many models are going to be at the event and, how much of what was brought and all that jazz. So I'm sorry if the order of these things don't make a lot of sense. I like to work in space in spreadsheets for myself, and it works for me, so screw you. So we'll start with factions, and I think the thing that sets the tone first and earliest as to how diverse the field is going to be is as you're looking at these faction breakdowns, your most chosen one was Nurgle at 4.
Okay, yeah.
Then, as you scroll through and look at it, you have a couple that were selected twice, but most of the lists come as unique armies. There's only one Grand Host list. There's only one OBR list, which I put in. There's only, 2 Flesh Eater Courts lists. There's only 2 Zinch lists. Like, think about that.
I mean, this is an amazing spread. But there would have been 2 OBR lists. I was lazy a couple weeks ago.
Well, I know.
I was saying lazy. I was really stupendously busy. And I couldn't even make time to theory craft, so you know how bad it was. So there would have been 2 OBR lists. Come on, I'm giving it a Phantom 2, but still 2 OBR lists. You expect 10 OBR lists at a normal, well, how many list submissions did you have total?
So I think it's let me just do the math real quick. I got 35 lists in, one of which was me putting the list in, but that's fair because somebody would have asked me at some point to borrow an army, and
OBR drink, yeah, thanks, heretic.
Yeah.
And you actually are pretty consistently keep Brew City around 50 entrants to begin with, so.
Yeah, I pushed it up to 56 right there at the end, because there was a wait list a lot longer than I had anticipated, and I felt really bad that it was going to be, that so many people were going to miss out on the opportunity. I think, even with the space of time, leaving it at 50 is where it kind of needs to be. Looking at the spreadsheet again, it was a lot tighter than I wanted it to be. So I think we'll keep it at 50.
Keep it at 50, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a good turnout. It's a great event. I remember my experience going to Brewcity Brawl too. I looked around the room, and I did. This is kind of at the capstone of like a year of tournaments for me was where Brewcity fell. It was me turning over a leaf. It was really significant for me. But I looked around the room and I'm like, this is everybody I would handpick to go to a tournament essentially. Minus a couple people who couldn't make it or had to back out last minute for RL stuff. But I'm like, you couldn't get a better group of gamers together in the same room. And 35 showing up for a theoretical tournament, I think just speaks to how resonant it is with the fans of Brew City, of that event. 35 people submitted lists to an event that they wanted to go to, because that's amazing. And then losers like me were too busy buying a house to do Warhammer stuff. But this lockdown has the Volt in a growth phase. Right on.
Yeah.
So when you look at the factions, you know that the spread is going to be pretty wide. So let's move down into a more specific version of that by looking at the sub faction. So listed at none, you have 11, which is not super fair because some of these factions can't have a sub faction. Right.
But I use that as a method of making sure that all of my numbers match. But look, two.
Mm-hmm.
3 factions were taken twice: Anvils, Tempest Eye, and I lost my eye on it. Blessed Suns for Nurgle. Everything else was its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Its own thing.
Yeah.
You had so many people showing up with just whatever, and that's great. And then you pop over to the realm, and my paint rule, where you suffered a penalty for your army not, matching the realm that you were supposed to be in, worked. So
Interesting.
perfect.
That's why you have none at 18, so half of the herbs were
proof and concept. And then because of that, I think that drives what you see in artifacts, where Aether Quartz Brooch at 3, Witherstave at 3, because Nurgle was chosen the most. But then you scroll through all this, and it's just a lot of 1s and a couple 2s.
Yeah, I see the 2 Ignax scales. I'm looking for Ethereal Amulet.
2
Doppelganger. What I'd expect.
2 Soul Thief, but that's because you have to take them for anvils. 2 Bioplates, 2 Mutter Grubs, again because Nurgle. But look at that. Look at all those 1s. That is people showing up in their events being their own god dang list, right?
Yeah.
It's their own thing. And that's what I really want to see, is that it's not people just taking, the one hottest list, specifically following Meltdown at Midwest tournaments. I'm certainly guilty of that. But so far, when we're looking at these stats, the first thing that pops off the page to me is that what I was asking for worked.
Well, and so how did you, ask for this, quote unquote, put it in, to quantify, how did you ask? You had a premise, a concept for Brew City Brawl that you wanted to see. It started with, upping it to 2,500 points. What were the things? Was it all in the pack? Was it just you man, I crushed it on the pack end? Was it in the sort of PR aspect of talking, interfacing with your players, on through the Facebook group? How did you achieve this? I think there's a lot of TOs out there that look at this and would marvel. How many people hate spammy spam? Oh, I hate spammy. I hate net listing. Yeah, people hate stuff like that. And you're checkmate, losers. I solved the puzzle. How do you reinforce that? How did you get there?
I think it's all the above. It's this has been a dream of Tyler Emerson and I to promote middle class Warhammer, as we've been calling it.
I love that.
Where you have people just running, it's stuff that works. People aren't being I'm being incentivized to take things that are objectively bad. It's the way that I look at 40K. I want to run a list that has a theme to it. It does a couple of things that are really cool. It works together, and it just plays the game. Mm-hmm. So I think the first thing is, this is the 3rd year. So people have come to come to understand what I expect. And I know from reading the pack occasionally that I haven't filled just with sarcasm.
Yeah.
That I make fun of people in my pack just flatly and outright.
Yeah.
I've had some people where it rubs them the wrong way, but again, whatever. It's my event. You don't have to come to it. Uh-huh. But I've had people be thank you for saying it this way, so that people understand that I'm gonna sit there and just be no, you can't do that. Don't be a child.
Two of the really standout moments come from this year's pack and comes from last year's pack. Last year's pack was the turtle thing. In your FAQ section, no, you can't use a live turtle as an eidolon. You had to say it because I think it was Ty was threatening to bring a turtle.
Yeah.
And then this year's was Bone Tithe Nexus. People. I went to PACA, found out it wasn't a big deal at all playing with Bone Tithe Nexus because I played with adults. But there was when you were probably about the time you were writing your pack, the internet was alight with the fires of, oh, this is going to be so disruptive, it's going to be such a big deal, it's going to be such a problem, and you're you just wrote in the pack. Well, I'm not going to say it for you. How did you deal with that in your pack with your wit and your sort of very specific type of writing.
To paraphrase, it was the Bone Reaper player places it down, and then the two players agree on what the table looks like after the fact. And if they can't do it, a TO will come over, set the table, and scold the both of you. Like, it's...
It was like something like scold the both of you for being children or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, or it will come over because like you need an adult. It was one of those lines where it like really, I'm like that's what I think you're talking about when you talk about like how you write your pack. I don't call it like deadpan, but very much. I mean, you're not trying to sound like you're writing a technical manual. You're writing to the player in a manner that like they're reading it in your voice. I think it is like what happens.
Well, and most of them know me personally at this point, so I certainly hope they get it. So it's the pack, right? You know, you have it written in a way that kind of takes you as disarming. You have a myriad of awards that just outright are going to be for, you know, people. The Monstars, you know, 5 behemoth heroes, you know, person who finishes best under that criteria. The D&D award, which is minimum 6 heroes, minimum 1,500 points in heroes. You know, person with that highest list gets that award. You have the Snowflake Award, 3 and 2 minimum, and then selected from the team of voters. Like, those things you don't see at other events, and because they're there, you are naturally going to have people that look at the pack and say to themselves, I want to play for this award specifically, in the same way that when you do Best in Faction awards, you have people who want to win Best Death, who want to win Best Chaos, who want to win Best Order, who want to win Best Destruction. Those awards are out there for those people. You have things like Best Painted. Those are out there for other people. So I wanted to give something to make the game matter for everybody from table 25 all the way to table 1. I wanted game 5 to matter for every single person in the room. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that's important because, you know, at the end of the event, most people aren't actually playing for anything other than, you know, a personal goal or you know, or a record of some kind that they want. That's it. That's all they're doing is just playing for themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to give everybody in the room something to be in contention for at the very end, so that when it comes to awards, everybody has that little bit of tension in their chest of, did I finish well enough to, you know, to have edged that person out a couple tables down who I know is in the same boat that I was in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and people are like, I mean, you've got Kyle here, like, I was gunning for the Snowflake Award. Like, people were leading up to the event, like, kind of, you know, talking on Twitter and back and forth about, like, what they were going for, or, you know, I was being duplicitous about it and joking about, like, I was going to go for this and I was actually going to go for something else. Like, it was, you know, like, that gamesmanship that I really enjoy, that I feel builds camaraderie. Like, that was going on, like, kind of behind the scenes and in the build-up.
Mm-hmm. So you have all that, and then 2,500 points. I think the fact that you remove a meta standard for people to build against, it just naturally increases the amount of creativity that you're going to end up seeing. And then I think you can attest to it, when you get to the event at the day of, the room is super chill. Mm-hmm. It is, people are just laughing and having a good time, and, you know, it's like it's one of my favorite weekends, even though it's exhausting. Mm-hmm. Because it's so clear and so obvious to me how much people enjoyed themselves at the end of it.
Kyle here, BCB, by the people, for the people, and that's that middle class Warhammer, right? Like, it's very much for the players, and in a broad scope. When I say players, not for the competitive players, not for the narrative players. It's for the players. They have those avenues to engage the event and enjoy it, whatever they're going for.
And we've had very competitive players come in for the event, and they brought something weird that they wanted to see if they could really push the record on. Like, Brad brought, you know, kind of an off-kilter Nighthaunt list that he wanted to see how well he could play.
Casino
And
ghosts.
yeah, and you know, he took it to 4-1 last year. Like, it's competitive players can come, bring something that they wouldn't normally, because, you know, to me, there's not really all that much at stake in an event that on the front end tells you, guys, this is going to be weird.
Yeah. Well, one of my I don't read the pack, so I don't know. But you had a really unique way of approaching secondaries. Year 2. Was year 3 going to have some cool secondaries to look forward to?
Year 3 was going to be kind of more similar to your more traditional events, where I was going to play the secondaries out of the book, have you pick 2, and then do acceptance and denial. I was working on something where there was still going to be like a bingo sheet for the people who wanted it.
Yeah.
But I found it didn't necessarily work out the way that I wanted it to last year, and it was too easy to get all the secondaries. So,
Yeah.
you know, it was a fun thing. I did enjoy people coming up to me and trying to bribe me all weekend.
My bribe was the best.
I actually still have the gift certificate in my wallet. I only recently discovered there's a Cold Stone Creamery by my work. But unfortunately it's closed, so I can't do anything about it.
Oh man, I tried to bribe him for the Snowflake Award.
It was a partially used Cold Stone Creamery gift card, which was
Well, I did the handshake thing, right? Like, and I like one of the to key you in here, chat gang. One of the secondaries was try to bribe a TO for the Snowflake Award. So, like, I have no shame. I 100% went for that. Another one was shouting no survivors after you like slay all of your opponent's battle line or something like that. So you just throughout the weekend you just have people just shouting. No survivors. Yeah, just shouting. It was great. So I think the bingo card needs to stay a mainstay. Maybe divorce it from secondaries because, like you said, the second, I don't think it maybe in the tiebreakers is where you were seeing it, where you wanted to see it, right?
Yeah. So I went through a more ATC ETC style scoring where it was more disparity. You know, in the actual scores. So kill point differential mattered, denying your opponent's secondaries mattered. And then I actually had it set on a 20-0 scale, but you could get 21 points if you really thoroughly destroyed your opponent. Mm-hmm. And so that was another thing that I wanted to try and incentivize, because you do have 2,500 points. You do have a lot of models on the table, sometimes unintentionally. And I wanted people to take blenders to get through the games faster. Mm-hmm. So by creating this super win condition, I was hoping people would see that as like, oh yeah, you know, how am I going to create just the killiest, you know, bingo machine and just, you know, just crank the handle and just watch things explode.
Right.
So I don't think I saw too much of it, but I didn't see many people bringing overtly defensive lists, which was one of the things that I was concerned about. Some of the people on the front end were asking me about lists that they were bringing, and I, on the front end, gave them a slow play warning before they even came to the event. Mm-hmm. You know, I told them, I said, if you bring this list, your warning right now is if you are slow playing, you will suffer the penalty on the first go. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably bring 200 to 300 models if like you were playing something like Beast of Chaos. If you were.
Oh, we'll see one of those lists as we go through.
I do like, before we get too far off the topic here, I like Kyle's suggestion of like maybe a bingo card for raffle ticket entries or some sort of door prize. Like.
Yeah. So the other aspect of this is the big raffle at the end.
Huge.
Which is, so we have been doing charity for Prevent Suicide Greater Milwaukee with Brew City Brawl, and our big giveaway is we do a custom table, which includes a 6x4 gaming mat and enough terrain historically to cover 2 tables pretty fully. It's all done up custom. You know, we've got some people locally who do some really fantastic painting, some really fantastic conversion work, and you know those things are really coveted. I think we did $2,000 at the first one and just under 3,000 at the second one. So that's a lot for the event the size that it is, but the quality of the tables are worth it. And then we'd have, you know, just other giveaway stuff. So that's going to be something that Bryce and I have to figure out what it is that we want that relationship to be. You know, now that he's running Ragnarok, the event formerly known as BryceCon, I want him to be able to play at Brewcity Brawl because I don't think it would be fair to him, because he's the TO for Adepticon teams, to be a TO for the three of the four big events, you know, in the first 4 months of the year. Like that's, you know, I don't think that that's particularly fair to him. So I got to figure out with him if he wants to take the charity table concept with him to Ragnarok, the event formerly known as BryceCon, or if that's going to stay at Brew City and we do something a little bit different. So that's something that is, you know, looking behind the curtain, that's up in the air. If he does take it with him, I promise we will do something pretty cool. You know, Domus took one of our original ideas, which was painting armies, but you know, fine, whatever, I guess.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll. I mean, you guys will be in discussion. We got some. I mean, that is something we have been given the gift of in this situation, is the gift of introspection. We've got a lot of time to think about stuff, whether we want to or not. So I mean, I'm sure it'll get hammered out, and you run a great event, man. You've got some great support with the guys from Milwaukee. I think it'll be great. So
I'm not too concerned.
Yeah.
So let's keep going on these stats, right? So we can actually do some list reviews and let people you know, enjoy their evenings.
Right.
So let's move over to Death, the first and best faction.
Yep.
So there weren't too many Death list submissions, and as you're looking at it, you can tell that they were all pretty different. So look at all those Terrorgeists. So many Terrorgeists. 5. So Tanya's list, as we'll look at, was a total of 7 Terrorgeists. The thing that I found to be most surprising from the Death submissions is that normally the Death lists at Brew City Brawl have been pretty horde heavy. And what you see here in the 4 or 5 lists that would have been submitted is overwhelmingly they were very monster heavy. All right. You know, and the other thing was that people didn't repeat the heroes very much. The thing that was very different this year was Neferata was the most
2 Neferatas. What?
Yeah. The most selected named character, which not what I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. So
wow.
it wasn't Fettuccine Manfredo, so I'm good with it.
No less than 2. We only have a pair of Lazdas, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're both in the same list.
Awesome. First, was there had to have been a Vordry though. Okay, yeah, we got Vordry in there.
Yeah,
okay.
So you had a Vordry and a V-Laws, and then one of the other V-Laws was in the Grand Host list. So, yeah. So if we bump over to order real quick,
only 60 chain rasp seems, you know, legit. That's a 40 and a 20 or 40 and 2 10s to get minimum bat line, right? And then we got 50 more tech guard, which is which
was all in my list. Yeah.
All right, not bad.
Yeah. So pop over to order real quick, and you know, if you remember from just the regular faction, there was a lot of diversity, and I think that shows up in just the number of units that were selected. Like, you just keep scrolling down, and it feels like this goes on forever. There was 787 order models that were going to be at this event.
Compare that to 215 of the best models.
Yeah. And the most popular named character was going to be Gotrek. Like, okay.
The Terminator himself.
Yeah. They're like, you just go through it, and people weren't taking huge amounts of the same thing. You see these people with a bazillion pistoliers, and that degenerate with all the Iron Drakes.
Shots fired at maybe Kyle. Was Kyle bringing all the Iron Drakes? I know he's a big fan of the dwarves. Hey, thank you so much for that host there, Charlotte. How was your stream? Free guild general, only one free guild general and Griffin. Like, he's kind of like one of the
bear.
Yeah, on a bear. That's right.
The one of the things that was I think worth looking at, that was an indicator of filth, was that there was 60 Hearthguard Berserkers in the 2 Fire Slayer list that was taken. So that was going to be pretty tough to work through. But it could have been a lot worse. I think as you look at this, there's nothing that jumps off the page at you as being like, oh, well, that was entirely too much. That was way too crazy. This thing is the thing that's way too good, or people really are leaning on this with the intent to win. And like, again, as you go through all these, you look at it and you're like, man, people are weird. So is there anything that jumps out at you from the order stats?
I was looking at. One of the first things I did was like look for the number of eels, and I mean that could actually be a lot of fun. Is like hyper surf mode. Like, you thought eel spam was great before, I thought that could have actually been like kind of a fun fast game. 21 Raptor Lom Strikes conceivably in the same list, right? Like,
12 of them were in the. I think it was 12 of them were in the. No, it was 9 of them are in one list.
Okay.
But the long strikes are built out over a bunch of people's different lists.
So those are spread out. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so no one really. So really, like, no one's spammy here. I see the Saurus Guard. That was one of my favorite things. Where was it? I think it was Saurus Warriors. 60 Saurus Warriors. Somebody
60
knows.
Saurus Warriors in one list. Yeah,
someone knows what is best in life. I like the 3 Gotrix, and the 60 Saurus Warriors is one of the ones that jumps out. So that's one list that, like, this player knows what is best in life.
Yeah.
And then 60 Dryads makes me want to, like, spit.
Well, most of those were in your arch nemesis Tobin Prime's list.
Ah, of course. Yeah. My new nemesis. Yeah. So I mean, those are the 2 things. I mean, see, this is crazy because, like, if I were thinking about a meta, and I love the term that Chuck used last night, was the thought meta. Is like, we're kind of like in this thought meta phase for Age of Sigmar, where it's a lot of, like, beautiful minding. Only 20 Shadow Warriors. If I played anything order, I would have 10 Shadow Warriors in basically every list I run. And I'm like, there are clearly more than 2 order lists here. And there's only 20 Shadow Warriors, so my brain is just, like, shorting out a little bit, as the filthy side of my brain is shorting out a little bit. Not nearly enough Iron Drakes. Which is, man, Nagash would have felt comfortable with that lack of Iron Drakes.
Yeah. So
this what really jumps out is, like, I wanted to play this so bad. Like, I would have seen so many different sweet models. Like,
don't worry, we'll get to.
Yeah.
It's nice to see this because it's indicative of what I think people are going to actually be doing in hopefully a year's time, when we get the opportunity to hold 3.1.
Saurus, what is your profession? All right.
So chaos is where things start to get, like, especially strange. So the things that jump out at me right away are the 90 pinks, which are spread across 3 lists, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But 80 of them are in 2.
Mm.
So gross.
Mm.
The thing that I find to be most interesting is 115 Blight Kings.
Yep. You didn't even have it highlighted. I'm just like, yes. Blight Kings are fantastic models. They've got really good war scrolls. Like, they're hell yeah. Nurgle. All right.
So think about what that is, though. That's 115 Blight Kings. That is 400 plus wounds of models right here across 4 armies.
Doing it right.
Yeah.
We
the other thing that
would have had a Glotkin up in there. Nice.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing: is Glotkin and Gut Rot have been present at all of the brew cities so far.
2 Gut Rot spumes, no less.
Yeah. Nurgle is weirdly very popular at Brew City Brawl.
I think it's popular in the Midwest. I mean, even when I went to Dragonfall was kind of the first really big event because you can't take away my hammer from Gen Con, but it wasn't a robust and real representation of what like a meta looks like in the Midwest.
I agree.
Dragonfall though, like one of my first things was like everyone's playing Nurgle right now, and then I'm on Nagash and I'm just like, sorry Nurgle, like you're gonna take the L, like you're gonna hold that. like, he got to hold that L. He going home with it.
Yes.
But I'm implying that Nagash is a hard counter to Nurgle oftentimes.
Because it is.
Right. They don't let on that like their spells are important and they don't often have bonuses to cast. So and everything casts on 7s because Nurgle's number, which is an unfortunate I think crux of the army.
So you see a couple of things that are indicators of filthiness. You see 40 Hellstriders with Claw Spears. For your straight min battle line for your 2 Slanesh armies. Gross.
Yeah, 3 Shalaxes. How many? There was 3 Slanesh armies.
There's 2 Slanesh lists.
How are there 3 Shalaxes? Never mind.
One of them. You'll see the list.
Okay.
4 Gaunt Summoners on disc. Gross.
2 Kairos. The Kairos isn't the filthiest thing you can bring. He's cool.
No.
The good combo. You
do see some metrics in Chaos of there are going to be some gross lists when we get to those specifically. But overall you see some wild stuff.
Well, if I may, last year was the year of Chaos. I mean, it started off with Skaven at the beginning of the year, and it carried all the way through Slaanesh through like the latter half of the year. Like it was the year. Flesh Eater Courts was in there, obviously. It was the big capital letters boogeyman that everyone's attention was on, but Chaos was like I think overall the winners, and it bookended with Slaves to Darkness, which I think we're going to see a lot of really good lists come out of this year. But that's all #thought meta.
Time, so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm not calling anybody the new boogeyman. Don't take that take from me, man. I only ever use that term ironically. Let's see. Yeah, this is where you're seeing a lot of just like one little 10 block of bloodletters. Like there's some interesting, like the filth is coming up in the places I expect, which is Slaanesh and Tzeentch, and then it's just like good stuff .chaos like units, and like really cool. We had an Archaon, hell yeah. Lord of Plagues, Lord of Afflictions. Ooh, I see. We had someone who was a person of fine taste with Pusco Blightlords. Very good.
Butcher, yeah, he has that. That's an army I was really disappointed that we weren't able to see because I saw the work in progress at his house. Mm-hmm. Those models are unreal. I can't wait for them to hit the table.
Right. Oh, he's a fantastic hobbyist too. I mean, he's basically either gotten the hobby award or been in the final running for a hobby award every single event I've been to since I've been out in the wild, like that he's at.
Fair.
So he's a good, yeah. Ooh, 2 Mutalith Vortex Beasts.
Yep, same list.
Nice. Awesome.
So let's kick over to Destruction real quick and round off the armies themselves, and then get into some of the extras. So you look at the chaos. You look at the Destruction stuff, and you see that the people that took the Destruction list just went wide. The 2 gets lists went totally different directions. The Bone Splitters player, went heavy bodies. The Iron Jaws players, went and did different things. And looks good to me. Like that's, all the lists are kind of what they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just straight like brass tacks destruction here.
So then let's bump over to Endless Spells. 7 extra CPs were purchased. Beowulf was the most popular, but then look at all the different choices people made. You look at it and you see the thing you don't see the thing that was the problem when 2.0 dropped originally, which was it was Geminids or bust on everything.
Mm-hmm.
People are just taking different stuff. And it works, and it's great, and it's perfect, and it's exactly what I want. Yeah, I think that sums that feeling up pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And you pop over to battalions, and the most popular battalion, Flight Cyst, because it's really good. Past that, Secret Cavalcade for the 2 Slanesh lists for Premium Filth. Both Iron Fists were in the same list, but then, again, just a lot of one-ups. The list I'm most excited to talk about is the 1-drop Vanguard Stormcast Mega Battalion. Oh, because that list is super good.
Well, this is, Stormcast is one of the winners of higher points, like as an army. They really can start to do some really cool stuff. 1 drop in 2,500. Yeah, that can teleport all the fuck around. All right.
It's not the teleporter you should be worried about in that list.
No. We'll get to it. Yeah. Dude, Royal Menagerie, hell yeah.
Well, yeah, that's Tanya's list. That's the 7 terror guys.
Living the dream. Flying monster trucks. Let's go.
Yeah. 7 models and just steamrolling over the top of everything.
Awesome.
All right. So you ready to talk about lists specifically?
Yep. I'm back up the top at Drive here. I've got I believe it's Nicholas's list here. Allegiance Destruction.
So you're sorted by name. Perfect. So
I'm sorted however it was sent to me.
Yeah. So it actually gets a lot of people didn't fill everything out with the same wholeheartedness that they would have for an actual tournament, submission. But you're taking a look at his, and he obviously won Best Painted on Vince's show a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
So people saw what it is. So he wants to go bodies and play a little bit of a control game, but overwhelmingly, it's stuff that he just likes to paint.
Well, you've got a backbone of a really good gets list here with 120 stabas, right? Mm-hmm. And then he's thrown in like 2 of the greatest kits in the entire game, 3 of them with Mangler Squigs in here as well. Rockgut Trogoths and Loon Smasher Fanatics are no joke some of the coolest looking models in this game. Like they're fantastic looking. And then you got that Mangler Squig. So I see like a good backbone of a good gits list. Double Cave Shaman, a Loon Boss, all right. Loon King, like you said, Loon Boss on Mangler Squig is excellent value. And then you just start going down the list, and then you see some whimsy come in, which is that's destruction, man.
Yeah, that's his stuff is always just kind of what he thinks is cool and what he wants, and he wants to just play a good game and hopefully have a winning weekend. So I think when you look at a list like this, that's positioned very, very correctly for that desire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're gonna have some tough games. You're not gonna have any game that you walk up to and win automatically, but you're also probably not gonna have too many games you walk up to and lose automatically, which is which is what a lot of people just want. So
right.
Yeah.
Next list, then I've got
Chris Grafton. So this was second place in painting. I don't know how we figured to do this. But yeah, it's Deepkin with the Eidolon, a Tidecaster, a bunch of Reavers, a bunch of Eels, some Eternal Guard, the Purple Sun, and Geminids.
See, I've played Chris like twice now, and he is is just a stellar dude. I missed Vince's hobby show. Did he convert this? Because he loves to he loves to do some conversions. You always see some.
Yeah, so this was pretty heavily converted to look kind of like an Arabian style visual army, where they had like head wraps and tan clothing, things like that.
Okay, that's cool. It's like a desert theme Ideneth Deepkin.
Like they really didn't look too much like Deepkin. It was, it's just guys. I think is the best way to put it. Obviously there were dudes riding eels and stuff like that, and that made it clear that they were more Sargard.
Mm-hmm.
But the base kits I don't think were, if I'm remembering correctly, too closely to what Deepkin stuff would look like traditionally.
Mm-hmm. And then here you've got a pretty. This is Eidolon of the Sea, so cast the Eidolon, right? 2 Tidecasters. Like, there's no real he's not going for. Oh, go ahead.
He also submitted 500 points short, so.
Oh, I didn't make it that far yet.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to be kind of tough to be down so many points. In a previous edition, those 10 extra command points might have been pretty helpful, but if I were to take a guess, I think the way that you build it out is you just do more of what you have.
Yeah, 500 points more reveals, basically, and call it a day. Grab a Soul Scryer so you can keep people honest in deployment, right?
Yeah.
You don't really need the Soul Scryers because of the speed of the eels, but it's a nice ace in the hole. You want to be able to make the opponent think that you're going to deploy 2 under the sea, right?
Yeah, you sit there and say to your opponent, I can do this. This is the thing I'm allowed to do, and they go, okay, I need to be cognizant of that.
Right. And then MSU of eels, that's what you're going to do with eels. And I like the Eternal Guard because you don't traditionally have stout defense. It just gives a little bit more standing power on some objectives than your base Namarti Thralls, because Thralls are paper. So Legion of Blood. Am I going too fast through these or?
No, we're fine.
Okay.
So this is Alex Gonzalez's list. He was really looking to play for, more in that Snowflake range and the Monstars list.
I love it,
yeah. So just Legion of Blood. Neff's got to be in charge if she's there. You've got Fettuccine Manfredo, Palanquin, Velaz, and then you've got a bunch of Chain Wraths, the Court of New Lamia, and extra command point and some shackles. This is Hero Hammer if I've ever seen it, kind of thing.
Right. Both your dragons get to be ethereal when you have Neferata, which is a fantastic little combo. And so you're playing bully ball as the Monstars. It's pretty great.
Which is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. That's the whole point.
Yeah. The linchpins. Bloodseeker Palanquin, By the way,
very good.
I think it's really good. Yeah. And I don't see nearly enough of them in in LON lists. Bloodseeker Palanquin. I'd even like to see the battalion sometime. I think there's some I think there's still some untapped potential in LON, I guess is what I'm saying, as people disconnect from the idea of 60 Grimghast Reapers plus Nagash and start to build some interesting lists. But Double Dragon is just a good way to do it.
well, yeah, and for those of you that aren't familiar with Court of New Lamia, it adds a lot of speed to the army, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that when everything is near each other, it's +3 movement if I remember correctly, and then if they're near Neff, they get to like re-roll something.
Their regen.
Yeah, maybe. If you fill dead air, I can look it up.
Yeah. So, yeah, Corda Nulamia then is Neferata. It's what the Palanquin is in it, as I recall. Like, so it's the Palanquin itself is going to be pulsing and like healing your stuff and hurting other people's stuff. So you make these little like this like Katamari death ball of awesome dragons and vampires. So it's like a Katamari Damacy of murder of vampires, and a murder of vampires, I think, is what you call like a group of vampires. They're called a murder.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So it's at the start of your movement phase. If they're within 9 inches of the palanquin, they add 4 inches of the move characteristic. And while they're within 9 inches of the palanquin, you can reroll failed hit rolls for Neff if the target is an enemy hero.
Is that what it? Okay.
So speed kills, and Neff gets to be a little bit betterer. But the fact that you have the extra command points to kick out the Vampire Lord's command ability to make things
super,
re-roll their hits. You have the extra command points to make sure that you're always doing Neferata's aura. You've got the command points if you want, where Manfred can be kicking out his aura if you want. So
he re-rolls wounds. Is that what it?
His is hit and wounds of 1 for death models within the bubble.
Yeah, and then Vlaz does what is it? Reroll entire
reroll failed hits, and then Neff's is the -1 to hit bubble.
Yeah, so you have a nice little like I said, a nice little murder of vampires, a dance of vampires is Andrew's group term for them. Yeah, so and they're doing a nice little murder. I think you can even project like sort of strong side, weak side power too. This is a cool list. I mean, like you're playing again. This is bully ball, like hero hammer too.
Right. That's what I want out of the Monstars list is people pushing around small model counts and beating the pants off of people.
Right. So now we get to Korn.
Which again, another very similar list.
Is this Ramcheck here? Mark R.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. You see, he's written "blood for the blood god" right at the top. Like always be on brand.
Right. So this would actually qualify for D&D heroes. And the only reason you're able to do it is because he's allowed to take the extra behemoth with the Baleful Lords, because normally you wouldn't be able to take 6 behemoths, but it doesn't qualify him for Monstars. But look at that. Look at that. Look at that filth.
He's got Henry there, the exalted greater demon of Korn that he just absolutely loves.
Yeah.
Nagash has thought begone that exact model too, so my Nagash is. Yeah, so yeah, this is just gonna be Mr. Ramcheck having like a blast of a weekend with all of the demons.
Well, right, and this is, for the most part, this is as straightforward as it gets, right? You've got your Bloodthirsters, you just toss them across the field. Because they're Baleful Lords, they can still run in charge, which is gross. And you can add 1 to charge rolls for Baleful Lord Bloodthirsters within 8 inches of the general. Okay, cool. That sounds awesome. Like...
Yeah, I mean, Bloodthirsters are swingy. That's always been their thing. But it's gonna be a lot. Like it's gonna be a murder fest, and there's just these like this pendulum of murder swinging back and forth. Like it's great. 2490 too, so you might get that triumph.
Yeah, nice and sneaky.
And then just flush outs.
Yeah, and you have to. Yeah. If he could take Bloodthirsters as battle line, he would. Right, that's the nature of this list.
Right. All right, so this must be the one you submitted, your Petrifex Elite Filth.
It is, which it's just my 2,000 point list, but I took away the Soul Reaper thing monger, the Nightmare. Yeah. Added a Soul Mason, added a Mortek Crawler, added a Harvester. Yeah. I was gonna do 2 crawlers, but I didn't have it painted, so I was like, meh, whatever.
So I was gonna make a game day decision, basically at list submission on whether I was gonna do my Nagash list, Petragash plus 2 more tech crawlers, or plus 2. What was it? It ended up being like 2 more tech crawlers and a couple extra endless, like another endless spell or something like. I don't remember what it was. It was 2 more. I was gonna add 2 more tech crawlers and then retool it a little bit so that I could get like a bonus hero or something, with like 60 more tech guard. So that was gonna be. I was between that or literally just adding Catacross and just having a blast as like just tag team champions of the world, Nagash and Catacross. Like, so, but yeah, mine was, it was my Petragash list. I'm having the most fun in Age of Sigmar when I'm playing Nagash. It's just, I am having peak amounts of fun, when he's being played, and but this is straightforward. I like having the Mortek Crawler. In general, you're not giving up anything now. And you're not spamming extra Mortek guards, so like people will view you more favorably and as a merciful Lord of Death. So, but yeah, that you could do that 20 block of Mortek guard with a Gothazar Harvester, and they're just like this is gonna go kill a single Mortek Crawler forces people to engage you rather than dance around the table and let that thing just peel them apart. And then you're just doing Bone Reaper stuff.
Yeah.
So Cavalos
That's
Lance,
right.
Cavalos Lance is a bit of tech that I think adds up in a lot of your lists. I think this is really awesome. Looking at like the world over for Petrifex Elite lists, Cavalos Lance hasn't seemed to catch on for everybody else's lists. Like they don't seem to be taking it, but I like this. Karkon is.
I like it. I like it too.
Bring out Archon and Nagash, or you don't get no spending cash. I don't. Yeah. All right, Cities of Sigmar, Akshi, Tempesai. So this was the bear list. These are the bears.
Mm-hmm. These are the bears.
All right, which one's Aetherguard Windrunners? What's this battalion do? I'm sorry, I looked at most of the battalions, thought they were crap, and moved on.
Here, talk about it, and I'll get my book.
Bear NATO is what he's called.
I brought all of my my books down to answer the questions on all of the esoteric battalions that we were going to.
Right. So this is the that's one of my great criticisms of the Cities of Sigmar book is like each one just gets one battalion. I don't understand why that's so prohibitive. Like I don't like that. Bear with it.
This is the retreat and still shoot and charge for the Outriders, the Pistoliers, the Gun Haulers, and the Griffin.
Okay. Yeah, not bad. Fine. Sure. Retreat and charge is one of the most powerful mechanics in the game, so.
Fact. Cavalos Lance. Agreed.
Right. So yeah, cool. Free Guild, General, and Griffin, absolute value pick in cities. Rune Lords, Pistoliers, though. I'm so disappointed, Kyle.
These are good.
I mean, they're good, but like they're not iron. His precious Iron Drakes. Like how for like just one calendar year, I heard him talk about wanting to just run 100 Iron Drakes, and like you have an opportunity here, and you're like, nah, man.
He had to get the battle line in. You gotta respect that.
Okay, all right. They're dwarves riding bears, Andrew. Your arguments are irrelevant. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. Here's the 40 Iron Drakes. Never mind. Criticism gone. 20 Hammerers.
He could have dropped the Demigriffs and gone more Iron Drakes, but we're not everybody's perfect.
No, Kyle, this is a weirdly good list for you, man.
So I'll do some behind the curtain things. So tonight we're recording Cubic Shenanigans episode 50, and as part of it, we were gonna have Dan go through a theoretical Brew City Brawl, and as a function of it, Jacob Berry, our guest on the show tonight, and I simulated out all of the event, and I think Kyle was on table 3 in game 4.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and I was like, okay, this works. This
No,
makes sense.
this is a good list. This is a good
Mhm.
2,500 points a list. An extra, like, there's a little bit of fat in it. Like, Demigriff Knights, he's running Bear Cavalry. This is on theme, so, like, I will never crap on a list doing something that's, like, in your theme or pet models and things you love. He's got the, like, he's got the redundant Rune Lords, which people like to see. Um, you maybe don't need the third Rune Lord, but I get it. And
Sorry, it was table 4 in game 5.
Table 4 in game 5. Yeah. Yeah, but no, this is like, man, this isn't like 100, or this isn't like 15, or I'm sorry, 16 more gas. This is good.
It's a good list.
This is a good list. No, this is good. I mean, this is something I would totally play personally. The Grunstock Gun Hauler is just, I'd imagine, just for your pleasures. It does have some good synergy with the army, but I mean, yeah, this is a good list. I like this. 40 Iron Drakes really do work, and you've got the Rune Lords to babysit both units.
You've got the speed, like it all works.
You've got the tricks. You've got the tricks. Yeah, it's great. Cool. All right, I like this one.
Now, Kyle, I do think it's too good for the Snowflake Award, though.
It's actually he made too good of a list for Snowflake, but there's a boat in it.
And I hate boats.
It fills out the battalion, helps the Snowflake Award. Screech.
Yeah.
All right. So Chaos, we've got Lord Screech Vermin King, Kairos Fate Weaver. Oh my.
So this is Ty Topper's list.
Okay, Ty.
And so I know that this would have been one of the Ever Chosen sub-factions specifically.
Okay.
It's the one that lets you lets you do all of the demons in one. So here you go. All of the 4 named demon princes and the named demon prince for
effectively Skaven, right?
The Skaven, and then a Chaos Lord and Demonic Mounts to get you that cheeky, sneaky demon keyword, and then one of each of the battalions for the 4 different gods, and there you go. You're rolling off with your D&D party there.
The battle line. Yeah, no, this is max D&D party here. It's like actually all the Chaos named folk team up to go on an adventure. With, like, the face man Chaos Lord, like he's the face man of the party. I love this.
It's an objectively bad list. But, like, knowing Ty, he was going to have, like, a really cool story at the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
So...
Frank's like, always happy to see the 4 heavenly kings. That's awesome. I love the D&D list. Oh man, great. So Andrew Corliss, Grand Host Nagash. So we got Nagash. Hell yeah. Neferata, Prince for Dry. I like where you're going with this. Like Lady Olander, Kurdos. Okay. Lord Executioner. 1, 2. This is
a D&D party.
This is a D&D party again.
Mm-hmm. This is a D&D party. I know he was likely gunning for some Snowflake stuff here. You and I, as esteemed Death Generals, will see all of the blue deck filth in here, making things minuses to hit, kicking out mortal wounds.
I mean,
being very control heavy.
What's true of Nagash in 2K is true of him in 2500. He's 800 points in 900 points in one place. He's got to do work. Like, he just has to do work, but he can. I mean, same thing in 2,500 points. There's not a whole lot that he can't deal with by either debuffing, hand of dusting, or meleeing and you're picking where he goes essentially. So Overwhelming Dread, Fading Vigor, yep. And Decrepify is the movement one. So
yeah, slowing your opponent down.
So cheeky control mechanics, love it. Vile Transference on Neferata. 4 dry with Spirit Gale. Spirit Gale is that's where you roll all the dice, and if you get pairs, it does cool stuff, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I think it would have a lot of it'd have a lot of issues winning the missions necessarily, because not a lot of the stuff does damage. Fort High does, obviously.
Vordry is a fucking blender. Nagash is I mean, he's a single character. He's kind of swingy, but like he'll stick around. Like you put him in on like you just put him in on the right targets, and he'll melee stuff down, and really he's there for the spells and the control though.
Yeah, the big loss in this is that Nagash no longer has the ability to just know Prince Vordhai spell.
Yeah.
You know, adding the +1 to hit and wound roll.
Yeah.
Now it's got to be cast out of him. You know, the fist is still useful in that you get the extra fight, but that's really got to go on either Neff or Nagash, because you know obviously you can't use it on Vordry himself to do the fight in the hero phase, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, this is a target-rich environment too for your opponent, so they have to make some decisions. Like Lady Olander is she's actually really good. She's just really paper, you know. She's really prone to getting shot down. But fortunately, I haven't seen a lot of, with the exception of like Kyle's list, I haven't seen a ton of shooting yet. So.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh, is it coming? All right.
Yeah. Don't worry about that.
This list is Esper Control in plastic form. I like it though. I saw this list and I just went like, you got the Lord Executioner in there because you got to get to your 6th hero, right? And then just like battle line that's just gonna run around and grab the objectives while you hopefully push around your sort of satellites of murder to do work. I like this. This is fun. This is a fun list.
Yeah, I think it's a list that, you know, is 2-2 in game 4, really hoping for that 3rd win and hoping to make the short list for Snowflake.
Snowflake? Okay, you put the Snowflake. Okay. I love that. If this were it can't be a D&D party because the D&D party requirements were they got to all be monsters. Yeah.
Monstars is the one that had to be all monsters. The D&D party is 6 heroes, at least 1,500 points collectively.
Okay, so Kurdos Valentian is kind of like the reluctant bard of the party, which is really funny.
Oh. Poor Kurdos.
And then just like big, like the guy with the horn, and just like blowing it in Kurdos's face. Let's see, Fire Slayers, Orok, Rune Father on Magmadroth, Rune Smiter. Oh, I see. Okay. When I saw Fire Slayers at the top with the information I had previously of all the Hearthguard Berserkers from before, I thought this was going to be a lot filthier, and now I see it's actually like Monster Mash Fire Slayers.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Like, I'm on board with this. This is great.
Like, he does have a 20 brick, which is good, but I don't begrudge you things that are good. I would be a little begrudging if this was 3 units of 20 and then at 1,200 points and then the rest of your list.
Yes.
You know, that's where I would have been like,
yeah.
This is not what I wanted to see from you people. This is...
Yeah, this goes the opposite direction. Like, you can have, like, a block of murderous Hearthguard Berserkers. Like, it's a good option. Just, you know, so... And you're kind of limited on battle line options anyway, so... Yeah, and then you're just pushing around Magmadroths, yo. Like, this is awesome. Like...
Another D&D party.
And they're all mounted. Like, this is the, like, could we do an all Cavaliers... hey GM, can we do an all Cavaliers party? I wanted you to go through dungeons and shit. Where are you going to put all the horses? I don't know, man. Like, we just won't go in dungeons. Rewrite entire campaign. I like that list. That's a lot of fun. Casper.
Yeah,
hey.
I also think it would look very cool on the table.
Yes, absolutely. So we got some Bone Splitters here. Oh, Zach, hello. Urgok Prophet, Weird Knob, Wardock, yep. Savage Big Boss, and another Wardock. Orcs, Arrow Boys, Savage, big stabbers. Rockin' the Rogue Idol still. Friggin' Brutal Ruck is the shooty one. Yeah.
No, Brutal Ruck is the movement one.
The movement one, yeah, the movement, the pre-game movement essentially.
So so basically what he did is he took his 2,000 point list and he added 8 big stabbers and a war doc, and he was like, "Sounds good to me."
Yeah. This looks very similar to the one I played at PACA because add some.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, add some big stabbers. Big stabbers are, as their name suggests, they are big and they stab. They're actually really good. And he's got the pre-movement to actually potentially get them into something, so that's pretty cool. Plus teleport should be in there, yeah.
It's a good list, and what it lacked before was the ability to kick out big damage reliably. Well, and he took that, so just like my Bone Reaper's list, he took the things for the 500 points to kind of round out his weaknesses.
Yeah. Breath of Gorkamorka adds some speed too, as I recall. So he's got some tools. This is like he's here to play. I like this. This is good.
Yeah.
Big Stab is wonderful, coolest looking. Well, they're still the models where it's like literally it's 2 orcs holding one huge spear, right?
Correct.
That is the model. It's actually 2 guys holding a spear. Oh man. I already have a second favorite list now. Oh hey Mike, right on. So Rock and Slaves to Darkness has Be'lakor. Hell yeah. Damon Prince. Okay, I like where you're going here with this.
35 warriors, some Marauder horsemen, and then 4 soul grinders.
Oh, why you gotta do this to me, Mike? Soul grinders, disgusting. Get those 40k models out of my game.
So an obvious snowflake attempt,
right?
Clear and obvious. It's I don't necessarily know how well 4 soul grinders would do. I've not seen one in Age of Sigmar ever
because they don't belong here.
Yeah.
No, I get it, man. Live your best life. Play with your 40k models in Age of Sigmar. I'm not gonna gatekeep on that. Yeah, I mean it's 4 soul grinders and 4 Daemon Princes, basically, one of them named. Let's go. I mean, your games are gonna be quick. And then some bodies. Marauder Horsemen are a decent value pick. Daughters of Cain. Nice. Kraith. Oh, I know who this is. Slaughter Queen on Cauldron of Blood. Slaughter Queen on Cauldron of Blood. Marathi. So this would probably be Teyrathi here, I'm guessing. Bloodrack Shrine. Hag Queen on Cauldron of Blood. Hag Queen on Cauldron of Blood. All of the Cauldrons of Blood. Witch Elf. Okay. So we've got 1, 2... We got our 6 heroes here, right? Does the Bloodrack Shrine count?
It's a hero.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. So we got another D&D party. And then just like Witch Elves. And it's Kraith. So so Mr. America. So this is Chuck's list. I like it. I like when you see the list and you're like, I know what you're doing here. Order. Yep. So John here. Volturnose. Knight Incantor. Okay. A little tech piece. Eels. Horsey, or, Shark. And Eels. Is it?
And Leviathan.
Oh, hey, look, it's a snowflake army because it's got a Leviathan in it. Kelly and Core because it's the only way to lower your drops. Or one of the ways to lower your drops, and then extra command points. I mean, this is what Eels would look like at 2,500 points, essentially. The Leviathan is just, I mean, it's a fun pick.
It's fast, it's killy, it neutralizes the shooting. You can be where you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are when you're pushing turn 3. That's going to be a rough turn for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Well, the bite attack on the Leviathan is excellent. actually. Like it's a strong attack too. So.
Well, and imagine being like +4 attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
Your Volturn.
+5 attacks on like the whole army almost.
Yeah, Volturnos. I mean, this is this is another one of those armies that's there to compete. This was, I mean, really just like take a few extra eels and throw in like a Leviathan into a 2K sort of list, and you get to be kind of pseudo M. You get both the benefits of MSU and the bigger blocks of the 6 with this. So you're kind of like straddling between. I think it's pretty cool. Knight Incanter is just a fun utility piece. It's fine. You want the auto unbind. Stop someone from doing something important, and then you can impose your will. Good list. I'll say. All right, so the quest for Tamerkin's gold, Dave Nordstrom. Gutrot Spume in there, Tamerkin the Maggot Lord, Picture of Decay, Lord of Blights, Sorcerer, right on. Blight King, Blight King, Blight King, Blight King, Blight King, Blight Cyst, Cogs. So this list has 40 Blight Kings and a Lord of Blight support, and it's got Rot Spume. It can fight. Like I mean, don't underestimate 40 Blight Kings throwing their weight around on the table. Fast with a good battalion.
The only problem is Tamerkin's on such a huge base and is so painfully mediocre.
It's just the part, like it's like he took a 2K list and then threw Tamerkin in it. Oh, this is fantastic though.
Cogs.
And Cogs. Well, you got to go even faster, right?
Yeah. I mean, the trees weren't enough.
Yeah.
So.
And you might fail the charges, so like the Cogs, got to go fast. Sanic.
Yeah. Sanic.
Oh man.
So I think we missed one.
Oops.
Yep. So skip through that.
Yep.
I think we missed James Nelson's before we get too super far.
Okay.
Because I was wondering like why you got to Chuck's, because like I've been clicking along with you and I was like, Chuck's isn't next. Yeah. But James Nelson's is a Tempest Eye army list. Also Realm of Akshi, and you'll really appreciate this one, Mephisto, because this is a list where shooting shows up in a real way. It's Endrin Master with Dirigible Suit, Battle Mage Assassin, Gunhauler, Gyrocopter, 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 Gyrocopter.
Okay.
20 Pistoliers, some Knights, some Shadow Warriors, and 12 Endrin Riggers. Like,
it's yeah. I mean, Gyrocopters are really good value. Like for their output and mobility. I mean, you've got handgunners are just universally good, pretty much. Engine riggers are one of the winners of the KO book. So like you're just, I mean, that's a list that's going to go where it wants and impose its will.
And then it's going to shoot you. Yeah,
and it's going to shoot you. And you've got like, I mean, the assassin's cheeky. Does he have an artifact or some kit on it for some sick combo, or just an assassin for kicks?
No, this is another case of people being a little relaxed on filling out their army sheets. So I don't necessarily know the specifics of what he got into, but it's fast. It's a lot of small single models. It's a lot of shooting.
Yeah, when you have that MSU, you have the your overkill is meaningless. So you have to perfectly split your attacks to blow up multiple of these gyrocopters, and that's as much luck as it is a skill of being able to this is how many statistically I need to happen, but suddenly you roll below average, your splitting now starts to go wrong, and you leave all the power still on the table, and so you're that's the strength of MSU. It's an even greater strength when it's on a mobile shooty unit. So I have to split and be correct, and the dice have to obey my will. There's a power in that many gyrocopters.
Absolutely. Yep.
Fire Slayers. So this is George brings in the big guy By George. Is Godric in here? Yep. Okay. I like the name. Like brings in the big guy. Oh, so Godric's gonna be in this list. Magmadroth. I like it already. Runemaster. Yep. Battlesmith. Yep. Gunnison. This is very similar to the other Magmadroth list that I liked.
It's just less Magmadrothy.
It's just less Magmadrothy because you wanted to run Gotrek.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And as a point of visual interest, bringing some Volkite Berserkers. Like, yo, this would be a really cool, another really cool army to play on the table, like to see and play against. I like it.
The thing I really like about this one specifically is that it's so balanced in the different units that are taken.
Well, broad axes plus pole axes, war picks and sling shields, or pairs of hand axes, like so really diverse.
It's just everything, and he's got 5 of the shooty guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this is a cool. I mean, this is a really great like Neapolitan Fire Slayers list that you're able to do once you go up to 2,500 points. I mean, you really kind of got to be tight in your build when you're at lower point costs, and like taking a Magmadroth or two is like really high vanity at that point with but here it's like, yeah, hell yeah, bring it. I like it.
And again, not to beat a dead horse, that's the freedom that 2,500 points brings you, where you can just do what you want.
I think Casper needs to go out again here, so I'm going to try to pawn him off on somebody while you talk through this Nurgle list with Gut Rot Spume again.
Okay.
Casper. Is this the... Casper's the Wymie. I have 2 dogs.
Oh.
Casper is the Wymie. You can kind of see his head on screen a little bit. Big silver dog. And then Mochi is my Corgi. I actually have 2 dogs, yes. There's a 3rd dog currently living with us as well. But he'll be gone in July, or she'll be gone in July. I'll be right back. You go through this. Is this rerolling once, Jack?
Or, no, this is Jack Cowwood.
Okay,
this is a Midwestern Jack.
Right on.
So it's a Nurgle list. You got Gut Rot, a Harbinger of Decay, a Lord of Blights, the Glotkin, Rodigus, 40 Marauders, and then 25 Blight Kings and a Blight Cyst with your extra command point. So basically, the way I look at it is this is a pretty normal looking 2,500 point list. A 2,000 point list with a Glotkin on top. I think you get the extra points to run Rodigus over, what most people would have run with a Great Unclean one. But, overall, nothing too crazy. I'm not going to be able to talk about this for a long time. So if people want to, toss some questions in the chat, I will answer them. So, yeah. How's everyone's Saturday going? Is it great? Fantastic? Is it the best? Heck yeah. What's up? I don't know. So where are you at with Chaos Knights, Brendan? I think they're good. I think that they are, a little expensive for what it is that they do. But, points corrections, right? Nothing too bad. The lances look cooler, but I think the ensorcelled weapons are, just overall more effective. So that's an accomplishment for Sam. Yeah, I am too. It's a super wide range of armies, which is exactly what I wanted from this. Not only were the couple of repeat armies really different, but the fact that there were so few repeats, it tells me that people kind of busted out their pet projects and really didn't give 2 rips about, what's good right now. So yeah. Let's see here. Did Becca submit a list? Oh, Becca McPherson? No, she didn't. What's an underrated unit you've seen in the list that would be a surprise? Let's see. Underrated units. Oh, this is the wrong thing. I mean, the fact that there's 115 Blight Kings is pretty surprising. I don't think people see that too often, and then they'd show up to an event and see 115 split between 4 people, and I guarantee you they'd do work, and there'd be people at the end of the weekend going, man, those Blight Kings punched me in the face. I don't remember this.
Yeah, Blight Kings, To use a phrase, I love the way you say it best. But what is it? The demise of Nurgle, or the demise of Blight Kings, has been grossly exaggerated. They're really strong, and they got some better tools now. If they do get a new book, look the hell out for Nurgle. Everchosen gave him a little bit of a boost. The meta kind of gave him a little bit of a boost. Slaves of Darkness gave him a little bit of a boost. Like they're legit. I mean, they're a legit. I'd say top of the going into the bell curve towards the top in that fat middle. You know, so
they are well positioned.
Yeah, I like them. They're not S tier broken, but like they good. And then what do we got? Nurgle again?
Jeremy Tucker's Nurgle. So
JT, my boy.
Great Unclean One, Harbinger, Lord of Blights, Festus, Gaunt Summoner of Zinch, Gaunt Summoner on Disc.
Festus. I see a distinguished gentleman amongst the.
Another 20 Blight Kings, 40 Marauders, 30 Plague Bearers, Blight System, the Demon Rift.
Okay, so we brought some great tech with the Gaunt Summoner, plus, and then the Demon Rift. So, very good tech, really good tech. I think
this is like another one of those kind of hard control lists when you look at it. Yep. The fact that he's able to take the Wither Stave is pretty significant. The fact that you've got the Harbinger of Decay in there
in case folks don't know what Wither Stave is, because there are a bunch of the artifacts. Do you want to explain that for everybody?
Oh, yeah. So Wither Stave, I think, forces you to reroll 6s to hit in, like, a weirdly large bubble. I want to say it's 12 inches. So it's keeping your big abilities from popping off pretty reliably, and you're going to work to control the wheel so that it sits on the one that forces your opponent to reroll 6s to wound as well. For the most part, the Harbinger of Decay is going to give you that 6-up after save against the damage. Like this is a list that's not going anywhere. It's not going to kill things super hard, but it is.
I mean, you've got the Dinner Bell here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Blight King, so that's always a nice little, a nice little thing. And Plague Bearers and Marauders kind of read as control pieces, board control pieces. So, I mean, damage Gaunt Summoner. That Darkfire Demon Rift is going to have to do some work. And then your Blight Kings are going to have to do some work. And you're going to need them to stick around through your control pieces. So I like this. And JT's a great pilot, so it's like, I feel like he built this with, like, just really wanting to, like, go out and play something, like, interesting and fun. And
it's one of those lists that at the end of the day, like, if it succeeds, it had a lot to do with the pilot, because it is such an uphill battle versus some of the more silly things.
Yeah, the easier cheese, right? Like
but ultimately, it's a control list, and that's going to win games on its own versus an opponent that doesn't understand what pieces it is that you have to go after to start to loosen the grip on the game.
Right. The lack of blades is curious, but I understand it. 9-volt cat Christian here pointed out. No blades though. Blades of he's leaning more heavily into the control element than trying to shoehorn in some extra damage with blades. So I get the logic behind the build. So I like it, and I do really like the Gaunt Summoner tech piece. But then again, Gaunt Summoner is just one of those. Gaunt Summoner is the new Grey Seer, right? Like it's just
true.
It's just obnoxious. Its cost is just wrong.
It's just too good right now.
Yep. But I don't fault anyone for playing stuff that's too good. Like I never will. KO Iron Command. Assuming correct control.
So this is Zach Lambie's list. It's obviously, as we can see here, Caradron Overlords. So this is one of the shooting lists. Chemist, Navigator, Endrin Master, 20 Arcanauts, 15 Endrin Riggers, an Ironclad, Gotrek, a Gunhauler.
Yes! Ironclad. Nice.
Yeah.
And Gotrek.
Iron Sky, and then the Vortex.
What's Iron Sky do? I'm not too, I haven't done my KO deep dive yet.
It basically lets him get down to the low drop.
Okay.
And so what he does with this list is he gets it to the low drop, he pins you in with the Vortex, does a bunch of damage, shoots you with everything else, and then if you survive the alpha, he's going to try and pick you off in places.
Mm-hmm.
but his whole goal is to, toast your army. If you split your army up, he's going to remove half of it and then remove the second half. If you bunch up, he's going to just do as much damage as possible to keep you from, he's going to make you pay for outflanking.
If you bunch up, that spell, the spell bottle is going to pay dividends. I mean, this is very close to the kind of a new version of what Clown Car should look like.
Yeah, and the other thing is if you don't bunch up, you don't have all your support pieces near each other, so he's going to be able to pull off what he wants when he wants.
Right, and then Gotrek isn't even bad. When you can afford a little bit of a vanity pick. You're allowed at 2,500, obviously, but like I love Gotrek. Gotrek was the model that made me believe that the designers, Mochi, no please, that the designers had figured out how to do a melee foot slogger. They should be such a Terminator. Like, okay, it's gonna take a while to get there, but like when it does, it's going to do its job, and it's not a matter of if, it's when. And that's a really good design space for like those melee foot sloggers. So Gotrek just is that exemplified, and I love it. And then Ironclads are awesome. Anytime you see one, you're just like, it just brings a smile to my face. So we've got, between these two models, 1,000 points between the Ironclad and Gotrek. So I love that. This is great. I like the Poke Bottle. I don't know where people have come down on KO with all the like revisiting. I know Paul Conti's got a KO series that's coming out, so a lot of people are starting to like dive into KO now. That this is one of those thought meta armies. KO had just come out. We kind of I felt it was like a polarizing book. I looked at it and I said, I see the heat in this book and I think it's going to be good. Others looked at it from a very like, hey, I get to play with all my boats and feel good about it, and others still didn't like that it felt kind of ultimately mono build, or that it was doing Clown Car again. The game's wider now. It can probably handle Clown Car coming back, but different. You know what I'm saying? And Spell Bottle, I think, is really... I mean, this is a pure Johnny thing for me. I love Spell Bottle. Spell Bottle plus, like, Spell Vortex, which is the best pick. It's a Pokeball. The Aether Chemist lobs it out off the edge of a ship, and, like, it explodes, and instead of, like, Mew or some crap coming out, it's a Spell Vortex. It's great. I think it's awesome.
More Nurgle.
More Nurgle. So here's Butch's list. The Twice Blessed Sons, Lord of Afflictions, Plagues, Harbinger of Decay, Sorcerer So. Dude! Triple Battalion. The Blessed Sons is the mega, isn't it? Or no?
And then the Affliction Cyst is the one for the flying guys. You know, the Plague Cyst is for the guys on foot, and they roll into the Blessed Sons. And he is the Blessed Sons, named one. It's.
I mean, this is just a freaking cool list, and once more that you can do because you're at 2,500 points. This is you salivate there as a Nurgle player wanting to do that, run all the Blight Lords and all the Blight Kings. This is, and this isn't even bad. I do think Puscoa Blight Lords, because they're two models, just like Morghast, can go down. They can get tapped down a few more points still. It would be a little aggressive for how good they are, but the downside of being two models is super pronounced. It is. But they're not bad, man. I think just like Blight Kings, I think people have forgotten how good these are.
Especially in the battalion.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. This is the 2,500 point meta looks so fun, says Heretics. I agree. This is just quintessential Nurgle stuff to me. I mean, this is the greatest hits. This is what I would run. I want to run Blight Kings and Blight Lords. That's all I want to play. They're the coolest models Nurgle has.
I have a bunch of Blight Lords. They're currently at Bryce's house, but I have a bunch of Blight Lords because they are super cool. Oh,
they're so cool. Dudes on crazy ass pot-bellied wasps with scythes that they're just kind of draping over their shoulders, we are here to fuck. They're so awesome. So, I approve. And Butch is an astonishing hobbyists, so it would have been just stunning on the table. When 3.1 happens, like, hell yeah, I hope it's there. Tzeentch.
So here's easily one of the
quality of
lists.
quantity. Chaincaster, Herald of Tzeentch. All right. Fluxmaster, Herald of Tzeentch. The Changeling, cool, and Blue Scribes, super value. And then, all right,
80 ping, 40 brims, and the Multitudinous Host. So this is a person that would have got the warning from me at the start of the event of, if your games are not coming to a natural conclusion, you are going to be penalized. This is an army that the burden of expectation is on the player playing it to ensure that the game is played in a timely manner. It looks cool, it looks fun. I think they're going to have a good time. I don't think many of their opponents are necessarily going to have a very good time, but I'm familiar with the concept of not giving two rips about how your opponent feels. It's not unbeatable. The key weakness is, there are some real shooting lists in this at this event. There are some lists that can do the damage. He did not take Conflagration. He did not take the one that forces you to not be able to retreat. So it is very beatable.
Yeah. And Multitudinous Host is the one that's replenishing your horror ranks, right? Or you're just getting like
that's the battalion that that gives you horrors back. So you need to clean the whole unit out.
Yeah. I think Jason shows up here in Chatting every now and then. But nothing against wanting to win hard, but like you said, the burden's on you to complete your games, and so do that.
And if the games finish normal, then whatever. I don't care. But as the TO, I make special considerations to ensuring that everybody has as fair shake as possible. In the 2 years previous, I've only had to have a conversation once with people about slow play, and I would say both people were at fault, but they sat there and pointed the fingers at each other. So had to have those conversations separate with them. Right. But this is something as a TO, if you're an aspiring one, you need to be able to put your foot down and say, this is the standard, this is the expectation. If you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah, and those pinks are 200 wounds.
It's objectively very good.
I mean, this is where you really got to have your horde breakers, and you've got to have the pinpoint removal. That's the stress I think that Tzeentch places on the meta. We kind of talked about it a little bit on the last RantCast with Tom, where like it's clear that Tzeentch is pushed. I'm not interested in beating that dead horse, but fundamentally what I think is interesting, worth talking about, what the army is doing to an opponent is saying, can you board sweep and have targeted removal? If you know about like Magic the Gathering, usually you can't do both great. You can do one or the other. And Age of Sigmar has a very similar, like, armies that can like remove, that can quote unquote shoot the heroes effectively, usually can't kill 200 wounds of crap as well. And probably they shouldn't be able to. I mean, that would be the army that can shoot 200 points worth of stuff, like with targeted removal, would be really oppressive. I mean, that was the fear of old Clown Car, was that like they could shoot all your heroes off the table, but they can also just kill all your stuff too. Like that they had such a volume of shooting. So yeah, that I think is the fundamental of what's going on with Tzeentch. I do think it's a points thing. If pink horrors go up and some of their power pieces go up, that's going to dilute your burden of being able of needing to deal with that, with both of those factors. They're going to be forced into a position where they either going to have tons of wounds in horde or heroes, but not both, and that's really what a healthier list looks like for Tzeentch. Nothing against the player though. Play with the tools, try to win. Awesome. This is one of those probably going to be on the top tables day 2 though, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. What do we got next?
Tobin Prime.
Tobin Prime. All right, my boy. Monstars Sylvaneth. All right, I'm not even mad anymore. Tree Lord Ancient, Spirited Durthu, Drycha, nice. Alarial Everqueen, the Gam Queen, nice. 30 Dryads, Control Piece, Tree Revs, Dryads, Kurnoth Hunters. Great bows, so a little bit of a good shooting there. You're gonna have a little bit extra of good shooting there because Alarial's probably gonna bring on more Kurnoth Hunters, right?
Probably, yeah.
And then you're playing for you're going for Monstars here. So with trees, I respect it. And he's a good analytical pilot, so he's going to be positioning them. He's going to be playing like chess with his pieces. He's going to be putting them on the table, putting them where they need to go.
And he really knows how to play Alarial. He's been playing Alarial since the beginning, so there's a certain measure of experience that makes it all the bit more dangerous.
I was stunned with the amount of damage output he was able to get with a very limited amount of units that deal damage in the game. That was one of the things that I was caught off guard a little bit by him, like essentially just a couple units of Kurnoth and like Drycha and a Tree Lord, like just a couple light pieces were able to like put in a heavy amount of damage. I'm just like, okay, like eye-opening. He really maximized his threats and where they needed to be. Like he just to make sure he did the most damage. So this is one of those like, yeah, Monstars a Sylvaneth, but I think he could do. I mean, I think he could be on. This is might be in the contention to win the Monstars award. I think here, just knowing the player, and what I think he's capable of, and again, the freedom that 2,500 points gives you.
Well, I'd say before you jump off that cliff, let's talk about the next list. If we want to talk about Monstars.
Okay. What do we got here? I haven't looked at the B3 myths. Okay, I see what you're doing. So we've got Slaanesh with Kairos. This is Filth and Monstars. This is both. They're the same. Like it's the meme. Like show two pictures.
Filth is this Filth?
Yeah. Is this Filth? I mean, the more KOS, the better. You've got the Supreme Sybarites, which is a battalion I both love and hate, where it's just like, hey, take the stuff you wanted to take anyway, get a decent ability, and reduce your drops for free.
Yeah, it's you're looking at this. If it's a 3-drop, if you dodge the shooting matchups, you've got a really strong weekend ahead of you.
Yeah. I mean, this is Slaanesh is just kind of one of the strongest combat armies around, right? In terms of like monster mash. They just slap shit when they get into fight if their pieces are there. And
you've got a big depravity-rich environment that you're tossing yourself into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because of the 2,500 point meta. I mean, this is a strong. This is a is this Filth? You're bringing both. I mean, Secret Cavalcade and Sybarites. Those are the power picks from a bygone era of Slaanesh dominance.
Yeah, like 6 months ago.
Yeah. All right. I do like the name though, the Three Myths. So Christian's list finally. BCB 3 Seraphon. I'm disappointed in your name. Stegadon with Skink Chief, Starseer, Star Priest, Skink Priest. Ooh, carrying the Aether Quartz Brooch. Then we got Shooty Skinks. Yep. Shooty Skinks. Poor Ripperdactyls. And Salamanders.
And
Bastillodons with Solar Engine. This is the Thunderquake host, which makes the Shooty better, and Shadow Strike. This is bringing the shoot. This is, I mean, I was disarmed a little bit by the Ripperdactyls because they're crap, but the rest of this list is just, like, good stuff shooting. Like,
it's mandatory for the Shadow Strike, right?
Okay.
That's
is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, so that's the way that you get the rest of this to go the way that you want. To get it to be a low drop, to be able to, I mean, Christian said it exactly. The Ripper is the tax on the Shadow Strike.
Yeah.
You get this to a low drop. You do all the shooting at all the extra mortal wounds, the extra hit frequency. Like this is a list that, you know, if you're not familiar with the Seraphon book, you know, you're gonna get through about a turn and go, "Oh, I've made a huge mistake."
Yeah.
Like, you know, because you're gonna be focused overly on the Bastiladons, which are objectively good. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that they're not. But they're Thunder Lizards, so you could sit there and have them shoot twice both of them in that first turn at no penalty to your command point structure, because you have the 2 battalions, you have those, and now you're just on your regular command point burn.
This is actually kind of a scary list right here.
It's really good. When you were saying about shooting, I told you it was coming.
This is
one of them.
Like Nagash against those 12 salamanders. It's 240 points of salamanders that can take his ass off the fucking table if I'm not careful. Like this is some gross. This is gross, Christian. I expected you to go a lot fluffier than filthier. But he's been putting in his reps on Seraphon for over a year now. I mean, this was inevitable. And while we're on the subject of the thought meta, I think Seraphon would have been talked about in the same context as a boogeyman, right? We'd be talking about it as a boogeyman, but we don't have any stats to be angry at right now, so. Our Seraphon versus Zinch test games made my brain hurt. This hurts my feelings. It's good. This is a good list.
It's a very good list. Yes, this is a list I would expect to see near the top at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This list hurts my feelings.
Reigns in Blood, the Dock King. Oh, is this the Crush?
What's up, Frank?
Yeah, Frank. Hoop hoop. All right, Chat King. This is Chat King's list. Rockin' Corn. He's got the big Chungus, as he calls him, Chaos Lord on Karkadrak. Mighty Lord of Corn, which, as I recall, is one of his just like kind of like pet models. Slaves of Darkness, Daemon Prince. Yep. Slaughter Priest, Blood Secrator. So pretty classic Corn buff pieces in play. Chaos Lord on Karkadrak is good. Like it's a good model. And Mighty Lord of Corn with Gore Cleaver has some value. Blood Warriors, Blood Reavers, and then now we're getting to the kind of a little bit of a... there it is, Brass Stampede. Okay, he really did just go Brass Stampede and Gore Pilgrims.
I mean, that used to be, like, back when battalions were crazy. So this is before your time, Mephisto. Back when battalions were crazy cheap, Brass Stampede Gore Pilgrims was like one of the lists to be playing. You just needed 2,500 points to bring it back. I have fond memories of how scary those 2 battalions in combination were.
Yeah. So this is I mean, you've got the pin and win of Brass Stampede, right? Because it wants to pin and grind you out. But then it's an accelerated grind because of Gore Pilgrims. So, I mean, this army is here to fuck, and it should be relatively low drop. So, he's also got the tech piece for some anti spells in there. Wrathax is weird.
Really good. Wrathax is awesome.
It's weird to me in that, like, the prayer, like, you almost want it to unsummon itself and then constantly pulse it out. And that's it's really good. It puts up Wrathax is the damage one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Hexscourger's skulls also do damage, but not intentionally.
Right. Yeah. And Frank, we don't often talk about Frank the pilot. We talk about him as a hobbyist. He's actually really familiar with running Corn. Though, as I recall, he hasn't run his. Brass Stampede has been a passion project for a little bit now. Gore Pilgrims, he knows Corn really in and out. If you go back and watch the 7-hour episode of RantCast, which I won't tell anyone to do, Under good conscience, I can't. Anytime we were on the corn subjects, he really knew his shit. I mean, he knows corn really well.
You're really a real fan if you've watched the 7-hour episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really don't know RantCast unless you've done it.
Yeah, you're not good at rant-casting, and noobs get good. Make wizards explode with blood, like it's Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, the guy who just gets like angry.
It's like this is like, so looking at this list is the epitome of what you want at 2,500 points, right? Like it lets you take all the things that you want to take. It lets you take the battalions you want to take, and you don't feel bad about taking any of it. Like this is a list I look at and say comfortably, like you have a 3-2 weekend ahead of you. 4-1 if you've got a good matchup. 2-3 if you catch 2 bad ones. Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, this is where like I like the 25. I'm realizing as I'm going through these lists, where I like 2,500 is doing the thing you always wanted to do but couldn't quite do, like as a build strategy, because you can come at this like the completely galaxy brain, try to build like the filthiest comboiest interesting stuff, and I do as a Johnny love finding the combos and interesting builds. But like a really approachable way to enjoy this meta is to go, what's the thing I wanted to do but like don't quite have enough points for, and then just like build that. Boom, double stampede plus score pilgrims. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yep, I like it. Gloomspike gets Paul Wagner.
Yep. So Paul is actually using the it's out of the White Dwarf, where like the loon bosses like with giant cave squig are actually like casters, like it's the Squigapalooza stuff. So he's running a bunch of squigs. He's running the off-brand Gloomspike gets in the White Dwarf stuff, because it had values. So I said go for it, and no one's actually playing, so it really extra doesn't matter. I don't think it's particularly good, but
it looks awesome because
it's particularly fun. Like yeah. I've played against a version of this for a while, and I'm always amazed at just how absolutely silly it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Boingy Boys actually have like decent damage. They're just inconsistent in terms of like getting them where they need to go, which is where some of the tech comes in. I love that he's got Loon Smashes. I don't see enough Loon Smashes in the game. They're so cool. I know they're not great. I just love them.
They're good.
They're good. Yeah.
Units of 10 are really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can do some really cool tricks with them. Like when you sort of deploy, when you Yu-Gi-Oh trap card people, like.
Yeah.
All right. Is this it?
No, this is the stats page.
Seraphon, middle-aged.
Steve Potasic. Yep. So, quick plug. If people haven't gone to check out the Partners of War YouTube channel, they do really solid AOS bat reps. So that's Steve and Tracy, and they do really good battle reports, and they've got a lot of enthusiasm. And also, they're pretty good on the rules, which is the thing that usually drives me insane. So, go check them out.
And so here we found the Saurus Warriors.
Yeah, we did find the Saurus Warriors.
Awesome. Pack of Salamanders, which is just such a... I was talking to Jeremy Cooper a little bit about it, and he came down in... Like, he likes double shooting Bastillodons. He thinks that they're objectively good. I'm going to defer to the wisdom of people who play the army on this. So I'm going to, like, go. Like, I'm sold. I have been sold on Bastillodons is what I'm saying. Like, I was thinking about them one way or another, and I'm like, yeah,
they're good.
I'm for them. Saurus Warriors are actually pretty cool now.
The battalion he takes is solid.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one
and we've
that
got
makes them really good.
And we've got a little bit of a croak bomb in here. So I think this list is deceptively good. I think this will catch people out and win some games. Or win.
Oh yeah, so this is the one that increases the rend of their jaws by 1, which is which is solid. It's the Star Host is the one that is really good. That's the one that increases the rend of their weapons by 1. So this helps them get the drops down.
Yeah, I mean, Saurus are going to do a little bit of work, actually, but still, he's got just the right amount of shooting, if you want to do kind of like a... he didn't go all in on the shooting the way that that Christian did, so Christian's going to have the polar matchups, right? He's going to Achilles heel people, silver bullet people, kind of literally, with his shooting. This has just the right amount of shooting. 12 Salamanders do fucking work, and then 2 Bastiladons, like I said, I'm sold on them now.
Well, and the other bit of range that he has is all the bound endless spells that he took. So he's probably going to get Croak up on a Balewind early, and then he's going to put, the Geminids and Pendulum and all that out, and he's going to probably use the Burning Head to stay just out of range of doing damage of his shooting stuff, but just in range to give him the re-roll hit rolls of 1 benefit. And use the Life Swarm to do any healing of things that get away from him a little bit.
Yeah. So not as House of Cards with a little bit of healing in there. And Croak is really strong right now.
Croak is very good. He's going to have all the command points that he wants.
Like, Croak is really strong right now. So I think this is another one of those just like. Build a good 2,500 point list. Maybe a little. Going heavy on endless spells is just something you want to do, but sometimes you're like, think it's
screw it. Sometimes it's fun.
Right. Yeah. Do it. Lean in. Learn to love the bomb. Royal Menagerie. All right. Tanya. Did not disappoint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 behemoths. I love it. And a Royal Menagerie. And, and then Racist Swords, just real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know what you could really say about it. It's Gristlegore. Terrorgeists do work. Like
it's Gristlegore. It's got an Aether Quartz brooch, so she's gonna go fishing for more command points that when they die they fight again. And then fight again another time, and then fight again another time, and then fight one more time, and then everybody keeps fighting, and like the games she's gonna win aren't gonna be close, and the game she loses aren't gonna be close.
Yeah. But this is just like, I look at this as just pure joy. This is gonna be pure joy, and like seeing 7 dragons on the table. Who doesn't want to see that?
And Mephisto, what are you going to do turn 1 when 7 dragons hit the left side of your army?
Yeah.
Nothing. There's just nothing you're going to do.
Right. Yeah. What's your deployment strategy in a 24-inch deployment against 7 dragons?
Well, and the real kick in the shorts is it's a 3-drop list. So she's going to say, you go first. And you're going to have to go, okay.
Yeah.
I can't get to you, and she's gonna go, cool, I'm just gonna go around you then.
And not to go understated, a little bit of summoning to like surprise, like grab a couple like objectives quick, like.
Well, you hold on to the ones behind you. So this is the thing that Beastclaw Raiders player had to learn to do. Is it's okay to overrun the objective and let the things catch them as you run past the target.
Right.
It's not quite pin and win because you want to be, ABC always be charging.
Right.
But, you definitely don't want your opponent to be walking forward with what it is that they're doing. You definitely want to be the one pushing them onto their back foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This list would have been really fun to see.
Yeah. This is a blast. Stormcast, Tim, Cornstubble, 1 chump.
So this is the list that I think, just totally irrespective of the other things in the vacuum, that at 2,500 points, you really feel the value of 2,500 points and how much better it makes this army. Because if you look at some of the things in this army, at what it would do at 2,000 points, like, the Anvil's Raptor stuff is good, but it takes like a really experienced player to get the most out of it. Mm-hmm. And even then, there's some matchups that you simply could not absorb. this list coming up to 2,500 points goes from good requiring a skilled player to be great to going to great and with a skilled player is going to be deeply oppressive.
Yeah.
So people are not familiar with these battalions. So let's talk about them real quick.
All right.
So it's the 3 of them, and I'll do the ones that build into the big one first. So the Vanguard Angelos Conclave is 1 to 3 Paladors, which he's taken just 1, and 3 to 9 units of Vanguard Hunters, which he's taken 4 for his battle line choices. This one doesn't do anything too crazy. The Paladors get to roll 9 dice instead of 6 when you do the Ride the Winds, which isn't crazy, but it gives you more flexibility in your moving shenanigans, because everything in this list, except for I think some of the heroes, can be grabbed by the Ride the Winds to do repositioning, shenanigans.
See, I actually like Paladors. I don't think they're like stellar or standouts, but I really like the models, and I like what they do on the table.
Yeah. So that one is what it is. The next one, the Vanguard Justicar Conclave, is where we're going to start to see, where some of these cogs are going to start locking together. It's 3 units of Vanguard Raptors and 3 units of Ether Wings. And for this one, you reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with missile weapons by the Vanguard Raptors if the target is an enemy unit within 18 inches of any Ether Wings from the same battalion. So you already want to be setting that front row with your Ether Wings anyways, which is going to put them within 18 inches of the enemy, and you're on 2s and 3s for the long strikes, rerolling 1s now. Great. Cool. Now, the Vanguard Auxiliary Chamber is those 2 battalions, plus a Lord Aquilor, and 3 to 9 Knight Azeros, Knight Venator, or Knight Zephyros in any combination. And are you familiar with what this battalion does, Mephisto?
Why don't you remind me?
Add 1 to the missile weapon attacks characteristics for models in the battalion that are not heroes.
So everybody gets an extra shot.
Those Vanguard Raptors go from 9 attacks, so 18 attacks per turn because they're anvils, and that's what you're going to be spending your command points on, to 18 attacks per activation, so 36 shots per turn, re-rolling 1s because of the Ether Wings.
It's a lot of firepower.
That's gonna pull off these monster lists in two turns.
Yeah, and you're not gonna be able to get to them because the Ether Wings are doing Aether Wing shit.
And if you get close, the Lord Aquilor is just gonna spend one of these many command points that you have to just hit, and he's got Ether Quartz Brooch, so he's gonna have more than he thought he was gonna have to pick up the unit and set it somewhere else where you aren't.
Yeah.
I think on the surface, this list is the best list, especially when you take into consideration what the field ended up being.
Yeah, I mean, this is a list that's gonna be a real problem for even the Zinch list.
Because even when you look at the Deepkin lists, okay, he's just gonna pull clean off every single one of those units, and he has so many different shooting units that they're okay, I present you this target. Okay, well this unit is gonna shoot this first. It's gonna shoot this next. Okay, now this unit that I wanted to shoot is the closest thing. Now my Raptors are gonna fire, and now I'm just gonna shoot with the rest of my army. You're gonna be able to daisy chain your shooting phase into getting what you want, even in a matchup that theoretically is preventative to getting what you want. You play the 30 Brick of Nurgle. Well, they're only -2 to hit in the shooting phase. So you're going to put your 36 shots into them. So you're going to put 18 shots into them in the hero phase, and then you're going to shoot off the Blight Kings or the heroes in the shooting phase and not worry about it. It doesn't matter how many models your opponent has. This list almost doesn't even care about the million bazillion Zinch bodies, because he can pull off the support heroes first, and now they can't immune to battle shock away, and he could charge in with the Ether Wings to pin them down, so their only eligible target is the Ether Wings. cool, great, you spent a turn on a useless shooting phase, and now I'm just gonna machine gun off your horrors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're gonna be exploding because of battle shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is such a volume of consistency and control, which is what's really great. I mean, you're pairing like pure battlefield control, which is what makes Anvil Raptors kind of good to begin with the extra gas to just go the distance.
It is so unbelievably good. Like it makes the Paladors really good because now they've got 2 spear attacks. It makes the Hunters really good because now they've got three gun attacks each. It makes the regular Vanguard Raptors, or the Raptors with Hurricane crossbows, extra good because if they don't move, now they're 10 attacks each. And you have all of the command points in the world to just have them, like, the turn that you've closed in on them, they're just gonna go, okay, cool, everything's shooting twice. I hope you can.
Yeah.
I hope your army can withstand this.
Yeah.
And most of them aren't gonna be able to. Like, I'm really high on this list, and I would have hoped that Tim put the reps in to be able to try and take it home.
Yeah, right on. And yet again, we're seeing another list where it's like you can't do this at 2K. You just
not at all.
Yeah.
Like, I know a handful of people that have looked at this specific list, and the closest it was ever to 2,000 points, it was 2,120 points when battalions were super cheap, and it hurt because the Hunters were just way too expensive, and you looked at it and you were like, okay, I think that this is going to get under 2,000 in the next handbook. And then the battalions all went up 80 to 100 points. We're like, bummer.
Man, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I love that we're seeing some spice too. Iron Jaws, Iron Suns, Orc Megaboss, Maw Crusher, Chanter, Weird Knob Shaman, Brutes. Gorgruntas are great, and then a bunch of Art Boys, Double Iron Fist. I mean, this is good stuff. Good stuff Orcs. Good stuff Orcs, by the way, is very good. It's a good army.
Good stuff Orcs is in fact very good.
Yeah, it's just a good army. Brutes, if you can catch the buffs on them, actually still do work. I know they're maligned right now because of the sheer value of Ard Boys, but they do work when they catch the buffs. So, yeah, and I think the only way to filth this out is actually to drop the Maw Crusher and bring more Ard Boys. But they were merciful and wanted to play with one of the sweetest models in the game.
It's the fact that this ends up being I think a 4 or 5 drop list with the double Iron Fist. It's really fast. It closes the distance. You've got all the command points that you really want on the front end to get the extra movements, to get the extra charges. You've got the option for teleporting the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. Like this is an Iron Jaws army. While fast, is even faster and is going to close the distance and subsequently the noose of the set. And, okay, Andrew, what do I got to look closer at? What am I not getting?
Well, I like the Thermal Rider Cloak on the Mega Boss. You are missing it. What are we missing?
It's really fast.
Gorgruntas are good, actually.
Yeah, Gorgruntas are good.
Objectively good unit. Wrath of Gork.
Wrath of Gork.
He's got the Balewind Vortex and the Wrath of Gork. Yeah. Well, you're going to throw the Weird Knob Shaman up on the Balewind Vortex, but I'm not familiar with your spell lores.
Yeah. One moment, please. Books are being read.
Yeah. Got Casper. Hi, Casper. You don't like being locked in here with me, but every time I let you free, you just bark.
Locked in here with me.
Yeah, exactly. Rookies don't know Wrath of Gork.
Alright. So, if successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within 16 inches, which would be 22 inches, and then roll 2 dice for each friendly Iron Jaws unit with 2 or more models that is wholly within 16 inches of the caster. For each 2 plus, you inflict 1 mortal wound on the unit. Like, Andrew, that's not what makes the list work. It's just like that. It's just like extra silliness to do damage.
Yeah, a little bit more horde breaking though, right? So
sure.
And as you're closing as you're closing the noose, you've got like a finish him spell.
Yeah, because it's 2 dice for every unit of yours with 2 or more models, which of course he has, 4 of on the front end and then 5 units of Ard Boys. So that's 18 dice, and for each 2 up is a mortal wound. So realistically, you're doing 16 mortal wounds, assuming that every one of your guys is in that buff range, which is pretty good and pretty reliable. So, that's a scary premise. Is 16 mortal wounds just for free? The problem is it casts on an 8 up, which I know you get your benefits for having your guys nearby, but it's still not super reliable.
It's a cool combo, and 60 mortal wounds in someone's face is never good. No one likes that, but it's good tech. It's great tech. Shamanic skull cap, baby.
I know you get your buffs. It's still not super reliable. 5 rounds, 5 Terrorgeists dead.
60 mortal wounds, 5 rounds, 5 Terrorgeists dead. And then you're still doing orc stuff. You're still murdering people. So this must be Andrew's list.
It is Andrew's list,
and he's a very skilled pilot too. So I like
it. There'll be some players where that would go off, and then people just go, "Oh," he goes, "Yep," and
well, he's gonna crap on Ossiarch Bone Reapers. He's just gonna crap 60 mortal wounds, and then okay.
Yeah, it's Andrew. It's a fast list. It gets in close. It does some fighting. It's good. No one's disagreeing with you.
No, I didn't have the fervor to talk about how great orcs are because I think orcs are a really great army, and they're in that Cities of Sigmar category right now for me, where whilst we talk about how great these other more obvious armies are, we have these truly strong, top of A tier armies that are kind of going, I don't want to say unnoticed, but unbespoke,
unappreciated.
Unappreciated. So it's this is a great army. It's just great, and we're not talking enough about it. Maybe I should talk about it more, but I feel orcs are good. They're really good right now. Flesh Eater Quartz, Blister Skin. We will eat you. Dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
okay. Well, so now I've got some headcanon here that this army is actually their grand illusion is they think that they're at a Queen concert. The mosh pit is they're actually just eating you. So we got Deadwatch in there, which is... So I like Deadwatch. It's one of the armies I gravitated towards, but at 2k points, I can't fit in the Terrorgeist I want in. I can't get both the Terrorgeist and the Zombie Dragon for maximum, meta penetration. So you've got that Zombie Dragon. And
so this is a 2,000 point list where you got that extra 500 points of the thing that you wanted that you couldn't have before. That's exactly what it is.
Yep, this is precisely that. Go on.
So it takes a capable 2,000 point list, and I don't think she was running 40 ghouls at her 2,000 point list. So it adds the bodies and the Crypt Gas hero and the Chalice that she wasn't using before.
Yeah, you weren't able to finish off. It was, as I recall, the ideal Deadwatch list I wanted to run was 100 points shy. So it's not even that you're getting 500 points to get it. It's you're gaining 300 points. You're gaining yet more points. You're checking off okay, I've got that extra. Season to taste. Do you want 2 Terrorgeists or do you want a Terrorgeist and a Zombie Dragon? Right? Season to taste. Which one do you want? So now you've got both of them, and then you've got yet another like 360 points to play around with, which allows you to get that full block of 40 crypt ghouls for the bodies that Dead Watch lacks. This is a cool list. I mean, the only like you're playing Blister Skin for the like extra mobility and stuff. Nothing wrong with that. I'd love to see it actually as the other Grand Illusion for the extra command points though.
Feast Day.
Yeah, Feast Day. I'd love to see this as Feast Day instead. That's the only change I would make to this list. Otherwise, it's got all the stuff.
It's like, balanced. It's competitive. Like
Yep.
It's got a good weekend.
Yep. You're gonna have a good weekend. You're gonna. No one's gonna think that you're just an a-hole for bringing this list. They're gonna get a balanced Flesh Eater Courts experience, and you're doing it with like the kind of cooler battalion, in my opinion, which is Dead Watch is fun. Players are sweet. Like I want to play with them. And then you get to play with them without feeling like you're a total idiot of liability for being that hyper elite. Because you've got that 40 block to do what a 40 block of ghouls do. You've got and the Chalice as well.
She's going to use the summons to bring on more flayers from the Archregent for free, more flayers from the Terrorgeist for points, and then the Zombie Dragon is probably a Vargulf to support all that.
Yep. Yeah.
So really, there's another 7 models off the table that aren't being taken into account that are going to be there in that first turn because the Dead Watch is paid for. The Archregent is going to be on a terrain piece, and boom.
Yeah. And Archregent is, I mean, this is where I think Archregent can go a little bit stronger into the spellcasting build. So I guess there's a couple like 2 changes I would make with the Archregent going and Feast Day if you want to. But again, that's a my taste. Like seasoned. I said seasoned to taste. That's how I would season that to my taste. I like spells being great. So yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a really fan. This is I think this is the ideal Flesh Eater Courts experience. I mean it's 7 Terrorgeist, but this is. this is
right. If you want to learn what the whole army does, this is the list that lets you do it.
Yeah, if you want to see like a balanced Neapolitan, what Flesh Eater Courts like
can be,
this is it, and I love it. I love it so much. As it gets a death seal of approval from me. Sylvanath, Tree Lord Ancient, Arch Revenant, Branch Wraith, Gotrek.
So this is like I talked about 2,000 points. You add 500 points or whatever. This is very actually because I asked him. This is his 2,000 point list with Gotrek.
With Gotrek and an extra command point.
Well, no, the extra command point was already purchased in his 2,000 point list basically, and he just buys Gotrek.
I can't fault that. If you're Order, why wouldn't you do that? Just take your 2,000 point list and throw Gotrek in, and join the Darren Watson Gotrek challenge, where it's I think it's running all through this year. We'll see what it looks like in a post-COVID world, where like just essentially go to like any 2-day event and like rack up the Gotrek kills, and like at the end of the period he was going to give a prize. It's like a great challenge. Everyone should be doing the Gotrek challenge right now. I want Death to have a Gotrek equivalent, like say an Aberash for about 500 points. That like. Basically is Gotrek except mounted on a freaking sweet ass like I don't know bat horse Pegasus thing.
What I would give for a reliable foot combat character in the Death faction.
Yeah, all right. Stormcast Eternals. Vince shoots you in the behind. Castellant to shine the light. Relictor has got the thing. We've got our Incanter and the Lord of Ord. Ooh. All right. Okay.
It's going to make a little bit more sense as you go down.
All right. So we got libs. You've got your Aether Wings, 12 Vanguard Raptors, which is never bad. Bring in some Evocators. Feels a little old school. Like a little, a little tasty old school. And then 3 Celestar Ballista.
Point. Yeah, and he's Anvil, so he's just going to shoot you with the Raptors and the Ballistas and all the good stuff. Basically, you're gonna put a line down and say, "Come get me." And if you can weather the storm, you're gonna win. And if you can't, you won't.
Well, he's got the pinpoint 10 Evocators too. I know they were unjustly punished in a points adjustment, but I mean they still do work. I mean, they still pop and drop whatever they attack, or they still drop and pop whatever they attack for the most part. I mean,
he probably puts the light on the evocators and tosses them forward to be the anchor to force you to fight through. Then the speed bumps, then the ether wings, and if you somehow survive that, that's his win condition.
Yeah, it's a nice little contingency or what's it? It's a nice forced engagement tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a nice forced engagement tool. And it kind of, because he has, it's a little bit of the Mortek crawler, going back real quick, a little bit of the Mortek crawler thing where, shooting you to pieces forces you to engage him, and then you've got this awesome, like, just punch from the evocators. It's great. I like this. This is cool. Kind of like this is similar to that one Flesh Eater Quartz list. This is like a peak Stormcast experience, I think. This is good stuff that you want to play with Stormcast doing.
Well, yeah, this is her son, so this is genetics.
Nice. Hero Hammer, Isaiah.
Speaking of genetics, Boy Wonder.
Yeah. So
where he got those skills, I don't know.
So we've got another one of those, like, going for one of your custom awards. Actually rocking the Celeskin host
without Selesky.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of questions.
And now I'm starting to do that thing where I have to be counting demons and stuff. And I'm like, wait, what? And then you got the Seeker Cavalcade, lower them drops. And then you're going to hero people to death with, good stuff heroes. Okay, yeah, I mean, this is what it looks like. I have questions for Boy Wonder, though.
D&D party, but yeah, what's going on here, boy? This doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, this doesn't. It feels a little off-brand for him, honestly. I would have almost, that one, like, 3 keepers list. That's something I would have expected to see from Boy Wonder. But maybe he really hobbied the hell out of it. Like, he really wanted to display a bunch of these models and stuff. Maybe he just really wanted to Archaeon and then combo up Archaeon with the Keeper and do some tricks. A little bit of what Vince did at Holy Hammer with his Archaeon build. Like, just Archaeon conquers the world with, like, support pieces and then a couple little satellites of murder.
Maybe.
I think that's probably the intent, is to really enable Archaeon to do the heavy lifting. So we got Winds of Change.
This is Dan Beer's list. This is the last one.
All right. So we got Tzeentch, Sork Lord, value pick. Cursling's cool. I like the model. I dig the model. Double Gaunt Summoner. God damn it, Dan.
Triple Gaunt Summoner.
Oh, 1, 2, 3. Yep. Okay, I scrolled and it clipped one off. Triple Gaunt Summoner. Okay, Dan. I'm unsubbing from.
It gets dumber, I promise.
I'm unsubbing. Magister's cool. Blue Scribes are great. Changeling's great. Marauders. A bunch of Screamers. The 2 Mullet. This is the 2 Mullet star. Alright. Never mind, I'm not unsubbing.
Nope, keep going.
We got Darkfire, Daemon Rift. Yep. Love and Maelstrom is just... honestly, it's good. It feels a little counterintuitive sometimes, but your Tzeentch, you get to auto-resolve all your spells, so it's alright. And so you're going to just pump that thing up and blow it up like a grenade. Purple Son of Shyish, and super inconvenient to your opponent, like the Orc list. Purple Son of Shyish, yep. Ravenex, Gnashing Jaws. Oh, I see. We got a little bit of endless spell spammy shenanigans going on here.
Yes, but it's all because it super empowers the Demon Rift.
So he's like critical. He's going for like the critical mass Daemon Rift nuke build.
Yeah. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wizards to start. Mm-hmm. He's gonna pop out another 3 in Pink Horrors. So you've got 11 on the table. Mm-hmm. The Demon Rift, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other endless spells. So if he can trigger it right, you're looking at 17 mortal wounds plus D3 for the Demon Rift moving over the top of stuff.
Yeah. All right, I'm back to unsubbing Dan. I'm unsubbed from Cubic Shenanigans. No, I actually approve of this. I like the thing is like Math Hammer with endless spell spam lists. They're a lot more finicky than people realize. You go, oh, if I just do all of this stuff, then the thing is going to do the thing, right? Like that's what the curse of Math Hammer is, thinking that all the math works out. You're going to be rolling all of these spells. You're going to be Zinch dicing them. You're still going to need to spend your resources, and you're still going to see Snake Eyes. So, that's going to start to disrupt your combo. Like, say you happen to not get the Darkfire Rift off. Someone's Knight Incanter stops it. Like, it's a house. It's endless spell spam lists aren't as Math Hammer oppressive as they appear, because you've got a lot of moving parts to get off. That said, when it works, it's really going to shit on someone's day.
It's that the Mutalisk Vortex Beast in conjunction with them hopefully popping out spawns to pin your opponents down to maximize your endless spells doing damage.
This is a lot techier. Is this the list he was teasing for a long time?
Yeah, it is. Like there's so many moving pieces here.
Uh-huh.
I know he was going to be getting a good number of practice games in, because I told him that this is something where like he's going to have to understand the spacing of how these endless spells like work with his army.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to say that like you throw them at them, but once they're out there, then they can start coming back to you. So you have to control the flow of motion on the table with these endless spells.
Yeah, and you got to treat the endless spells like control pieces as well, right? Like
Exactly.
You need to actually get that working. So this is a rep heavy list. Like I said, Math Hammer on stuff like this, people tend to be a little bit more the sky is falling with them than what they realize the skill and the sort of like nature of how all these moving pieces come together. I actually respect this. 3 God Summoners though, disgusting.
Yeah, that's degeneracy at its finest.
Yeah. But otherwise, yeah. I actually like the double Mutaliths. I think that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah.
So those are the lists. So let's talk about this a little bit. So do you agree with me? And I suppose I'm leading the witness here that these 2,500 point lists met the expectation I was asking for from the event.
I think this is a proof of concept. I mean, there's probably like 2 pure filth lists in all of it, which is far less than I would expect to see of 35 lists, in any setting. And even the pure filth ones, it's like, I respect what you're doing here. I respect what you're doing here. And then there's some real creative, strong lists. Like really creative, pushing the envelope, seeing some takes that like we haven't got to see. And then I think there's like yet another gear of like, I couldn't make it work at 2000, but I make it work here. And those were like a lot of my favorites. The peak Flesh-Eater Quartz experience, for instance, like I love that Dead Watch list where I'm like, this is just what I would want to play. Something like I would play where I would just show up to play with my new OBR toys, especially the ones I don't get to play with when I'm running Nagash, which is my favorite version of it. So I'd play some catapults or catacross or something like that along with it.
Sure.
Just because I didn't have enough time to paint all of the bone stampede I wanted to paint, because it would have just been maximum ponies. Maximum murder ponies, like a block of Mortek Guard, maximum murder ponies, and maybe a pair of catapults. Or at least one.
Okay. So out of all of these, which one do you think was the most promising list to try to take out the whole event?
To take out the field?
Yeah. Like the context of all of the lists that were here, and if you want to factor in the general as well, then you're welcome to do so. Which of these do you think was the one that you would have been least surprised to see as the person winning the event?
I gotta cater. I gotta be a little bit on brand here and cater a little bit to chat gang. I like Christian's list. I feel like we didn't talk about it a ton. The Stormcast list was stunning. I don't know the pilot though, so like I can't, like speak with too much authority. I know Christian's been grinding for a while now. I mean, it's got one strategy though, and armies that have one strategy, when they come up to their counter, they just lose. They tend to, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face, right? It's a little bit of that. So Christian's list is prone to that, but I like it. It's got tricks and tools. Trying to go back through these.
I understand. I'm gonna be asking you, some more of these kinds of questions. So feel free to kind of click through them. So while you're doing that,
actually Andrew's orc list, because orcs are a lot better than I think people better than people realize. Orcs have the ability to win events, and his list is well tuned with a cheeky combo. So his list is good. That Slaanesh list. The problem with it is, like, I would say that list is like really capable of winning, but there's a lot of strong shooting to like just ruin its day,
I think that's where it drops the one. I think that's where it goes 4-1, and the event just kind of falls away.
Yeah. So I would pick the Slaanesh list like a year, a few months ago. With what I see here, I'm like, it just takes running into Christian's list or the Karajan over Zach's list or the Stormcast list, and that house that's you're kind of gonna get handed a hard L. There's also a couple control lists in here that could oddly just steal a game from a combat heavy army, like where you just become impotent because you can't get to where you need to go and you can't get your attacks to land. So you're gonna like not quite as much of a gimme because we do see a heavier control. I really liked one of the Nurgle lists too. One of those Nurgle lists was like, I'm like, this is really cool.
Jeremy Tucker's maybe.
I think JT's, yeah, like it's techie, so I don't think people are gonna know how to approach it, and I just assume he knows how to play it.
Yeah,
he won Brew City last year as well, so he's got to be a favorite to be in it on day 2.
The thing that I think keeps it from winning is the weight of incentive I put on the kill point differential.
Right.
So he's going to suffer because he's not going to be able to kill a lot, but he's not going to surrender very much, which is going to keep the differential low in his favor. But like when you're looking at some of these other lists that you talk about, they're going to lose some things, obviously, but they're going to swing to the high end and hopefully get those plus that extra bonus points to put them at 21-0 against their opponent.
Yeah. Kyle, I actually, I like his list. I think he has the ability to be in the running day 2, which is really cool. I know he's won a best death as well. Like I know he's got it in him. He won best destruction under with you at what was that tournament?
Yes, at not Indie Storm, Circle City.
Yeah, so he's got it in him to be in the running there.
Yeah, so
I think Zach. Thinking in terms of some stuff here, Zach's got all the tools to put it away too. His Bone Splitters list I kind of forgot about early on. He skilled pilot, really knows his army really well. He put in the gas. He had a weakness at 2K. He was able to cover up that weakness now with his list. And his list answers problems by he can dance around things that can beat him. Like he really has the ability to just just run in a circle around the table, just scoring and stuff like that, and never actually engaging problem lists. So like Zach's got a really good list too, man. I don't think there's a clear. Go ahead.
So in answering this question, you answered what my next questions were going to be, which is who do you think takes out each of the factions?
I think Zach's easily got destruction, at least. If not, like Andrew, it depends on what gear Andrew decides to play in. I think for that. I wish I could see like a whole list. Order is difficult because it is bloated. That's where I could see Christian getting best order and somebody else beating him overall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think that's where I see that coming down. Just
Oh no, I lost your audio. Oh no.
Dave's list is good too, man. I like that. I like that Nurgle list.
Tamerkin is such a liability.
That's true.
That cannot be understated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I like the hyper controlled death list. I think for best death. Like
really over the all comers Flesh Eater Courts list.
I love the list. I really do. It's between those two. Hyper control has a problem. In that, like, if somebody's got the right, the hyper control's got the same problem as a lot of stuff. Is it's going to fall apart to a lot of that shooting. So I do think I swing back towards the take all comers Flesh Eater Courts. Or the balance spec. I think balance spec maybe wins best death.
The thing I really like about that list in the context of everything is its blister skin. So it's got Hellish Orator for the extra command point farm, and then the Eye of Haish, which is anti-shooting. And then you also have an ethereal Terrorgeist.
Mm-hmm.
So it has the things to weather some of those less good matchups.
Mm-hmm.
It has the extra command points that you're looking for.
The table really
like, especially in the context of like, yeah, I think my Bone Reapers list that would have been out there was very good. But as we went through some of these lists, there are just some things that if I saw it, there's nothing I could do.
That balanced fact list could beat you. I mean, it can put in the ZD right where it needs to be, like, and I mean it almost doesn't really give a crap about the catapults. Like, it's just
the ghouls would care.
Yeah, but that's where 36 inches you should be able to deploy it to target what you want to target. Mm-hmm. They're low bravery as well, so your bravery shot's going to go off really decently.
No, they're bravery 10.
Oh, they're bravery 10. They're death. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would have been
like
my pick.
The flares can get the flares. One pack of flares neutralizes that catapult instantly. Nothing you can do about it. Just get within 6 inches, it's forced to melee like 3 flares or an outflanking whatever that they just summon on. Like, they're going to be able to neutralize the catapult, and then Terrorgeist beat up Mortek Guard. I don't think people realize that. Like,
I disagree entirely.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. The difference is she's got the Archregent for the extra D3 attacks. So in any case, I think that's what I take for death, rather than hammering out the specifics of it.
Yeah.
I think she handles the field better than the Bone Reapers would.
Well, I have omitted your Bone Reapers list entirely.
Someone else would have played it. It just wouldn't have been me.
Okay.
So there you go. Pilot out the window. I think as you move over to Destruction, the next not super crowded section, I think it is pretty clearly between Andrew and Zach.
Yep.
I think Zach's army can handle some of the problems more reliably that you see in the field. I think that and some of Andrew's key pieces could be removed more quickly than he would like. Mm-hmm. And the difference is that Zach's stuff is such a huge volume that it would be difficult to get through.
Well, it's essentially green carpet in Age of Sigmar is what's going on with it. It's,
right.
His Bone Splitters build is really good. And at 2500, he doesn't have really a weakness with that list anymore. And any like truly hard counter can still be beaten by bodies and mobility, and just like whatever the objective is like if there's enough objectives to cover, there's not really a whole lot that can deal with that. So I like yeah, but can he do 16 mortal wounds though? I mean, that's just a unit of skinks.
So then our second crowded field, I think the one that takes out best chaos is the Million Horrors.
Yeah. There's just
I think it just floods the board. I think too many lists just are not going to be able to grind through it in a timely manner. I think if he actually like took conflagration on it, it would have been even more of a problem.
Yeah.
But that could have just been a result of people not filling their lists out all the way for this. The chaos stuff is a real heavy field of Nurgle for the most part, some Khorne. The Slaanesh list would normally do really well. The problem is there's so much shooting at what we've seen that unless you dodge all of them, you're taking the loss there. Like that's unfortunately just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I mean there's an auto L sitting in there for that army, whereas I don't think there's a stronger army for beating that Tzeentch somewhere. Like there's armies that are going to have a favorable matchup, but not an auto win against it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's going to be some 60-40 matchups for that Tzeentch list, but that Slaanesh list is going to have like a 70-30 or a 20 like a 20-80 or a 30-70 against some of those like really good shooting lists. They're just going to take the L unless dice do dice things. Yeah.
And then
Order is the difficult one. Order's a difficult one because there's like 4 lists that I think are really just kind of like stellar. And there's a couple lists that like I think could catch a decent break. And I mean, I'm looking at Zach's list right now. I don't see any reason this list couldn't go the distance, go 4-1, for a best order. I don't see anything in the field that says like you're going to take a loss here. KO is a little bit better than people realize in it. His game plan, his winning stroke, is
so good.
A solid, like it's a solid win con. Like it's reliable too. You can't stop the spell bottle, right?
No.
Like it's a good.
It's there.
Stroke. Yeah, like it's a good winning stroke. Like it's Casper. Come on, buddy. I think he disagrees with it though.
Which is fair because the two that I'm really I think it does really well. The two I'm really stuck between is Christian's list and Tim's list.
Mm-hmm. Which one's Tim's list?
Tim's is the super 1-drop Raptors list.
Yeah. Well, so like that's where I'm thinking. Like I think how I break the tiebreaker is I say Christian gets best order and then Tim wins best overall. Is I think what
if you flipped him, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously matchup, piloting, luck, dice, battle plans. It's all going to come down there. But Christian's, I mean, he's got a ton of shooting too, and like he said, he's grudging Zach, so he takes the loss to Zach in the grudge. Zach goes on to be in contention for best general, but to make the discussion clean, I'm going to say Christian takes best order, and then Tim takes best overall. So you've got Tim with best overall. You got Christian on. Best order, best death goes to the Flesh Eater Court, the good stuff Flesh Eater Courts list. Tzeentch could be in contention for winning best overall as well. But again, to make the math easy, we'll say best chaos goes to the Tzeentch list, which leaves best destruction for flip a coin between Zach and Andrew. But the fact that I think I'm giving Zach an auto W, I think puts Zach as best destruction.
Yeah, fair enough. And so my last question for you is, which of these lists do you think wins the Snowflake Award?
Which one did I just get the most excited to see? I'm trying
you were really excited about a lot of them.
Okay, it's hard to gauge. Can you narrow it down to a top 4 that I had the biggest pop for, like it's a WWE match?
You were super excited for how correct was he based on your table math matchups with Jacob? I mean, this is pretty close. We had game 5, the top couple tables were Zach Lambie, Tim, Zach Cachetta, Million Horrors, Kyle Knapp was up there. I think Christian had a tough loss game 4, which would have put him close to the top. There was this isn't too far off. But obviously, I was operating with that in my rearview mirror. Man, there were a lot of these that you were super excited about because they were just so unusual. Because remember, it's an army that would go at least 3-2. But then you look at it and you go, man, this list is just off the wall weird.
See, I find myself McKinnon won a hobby award, so I would I would remove him from the running, even though I have I really popped for this army. Like, I love Gloomspike Gitz. I love that. So I'm gonna take this one off the list because hobby award. So I would factor that in because I want the most possible people to get trophies. You know what I'm saying? Double dragon. Palanquin. I like seeing Nilamia, in play. So I'd have to that would be in contention for my snowflake.
Gut check. What was the list that you remember seeing and being like, I'm here for this?
Right now, it's Mark Ramchak's. I'm just like,
okay, that's fine.
It's so bloodthirsty. How could you think about a Corden player? Isn't this exactly what you want to do? Is just have the biggest, fattest, cornest stuff? I'm just kind of clicking through quick. I mean, Kyle's on the short list too. I know you disqualified him because his list is almost too good.
Yeah, that's okay. I give bonus points to lists that are weird, but they also hit that 4-1 mark.
Yeah. He's on the short list for the snowflake. Hang on. See if anything jumps off the page at me real quick. I love this Fire Slayers list. All of the Magma Droths. I love that list. We already talked about you kind of winning. Be'lakor is awesome. All the Demon Princess, Soul Grinders, disqualified for 40k models. Sorry. Degeneracy Embraced. Dave's list. I like Mike's list too. Oops. Butch's list. I'm trying to make a short list, and I'm gonna reason and logic through it, based on my own quantities. Got Rot Spume. Which one was this? Glotkid's in there. Nice. I like the build design. I feel like I'm between Butch, Kyle, and Mark.
Okay.
I think for Snowflake, I think I'm between those ones. And I would just conceivably be on a shadow council with a vote, and so then other people I would try to sway the room, and then let someone be the tiebreaker because I can't choose my favorites. I can't choose my favorite child. I have to see how Kyle's bear cavalry comes together because he's just been really working his hobby really hard. But Butch is running all of the things I want to see in Nurgle, which is just maximum Blight Lords and Blight Kings. I guess that feels a little spammy for some people, but I don't care about those people.
I mean, that's close enough for me. You've got it narrowed down, and a lot of times it comes every year that we've done it, we have a list going into round 5, ordered off of who we have and who we want.
I mean, it would. I mean, that's where we come down to record, right? Because Snowflake is the best with the snowflakiest, right?
Right. So it's not the best with the snowflakiest. It's at least 3-2.
Oh, at least 3-2, not
Right.
okay.
And so once you clear that hurdle, you're eligible.
Okay.
So that's our thing is for a lot of the times when we're doing this, the lists that we really like are all 2-2 in round 4, and we order off the ones that we have, and we go, okay, if this person wins, they get it. If not, it's this person, this person, this person, and we just come down the line.
Which one was Alex's list?
That's the Court of New Lamia.
Oh yeah, I mean that one's super.
You
know what? ABB. No. I've got it. ABB. Alex G wins.
Okay.
Wins Snowflake. And I think I give it to Tobin for D&D, right? Because he had the D&D, or was he?
He had Monstars.
He has Monstars. I think I give it to him for Monstars.
Really, over the Slanesh three keeper Shalaxian Kairos list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I give it to Tobin, Tobin Prime, which leaves D&D Party being the hardest one.
I mean, multiple people can win the same awards.
I'm trying not to, though. I would on purpose try to diversify. What did we have?
I mean, you had the Control Nagash list, which was.
I got to give it to my boy Nagash. Sorry, Nagash wins. D&D Party. It had Kurdos in it too, right? Like the derpiest bard of any party. It's just like. It'd be between Ty and Nagash. Because I think I got to give it to Ty for D&D Party because he'd have like a narrative and everything.
Yeah, but he's got to be the highest finishing person with the D&D Party, and I just don't think that list is going to get you there.
Oh, so D&D is the highest, unlike Snowflake.
Yeah, so D&D and Monstars are the highest under those conditions.
Yeah, so Tobin's probably I think Tobin's probably Monstars. Right. And then D&D would have to go to the highest finishing. So Ty is not going to finish the highest. Mm-hmm. That list is sorry, dude. What was the other one?
I don't think he'd argue with you.
What was the other one I was thinking about?
You had for D&D Party.
Yeah.
You have the Legions of Nagash control list.
Yeah.
There's a handful of these, right?
If it's highest finishing, it's going to be the Slanesh one.
Okay.
If it's highest finishing. So
that would be Isaiah's then. Because you got to remember it's got to be at least 6 heroes and 1,500 points.
Okay.
Because I made it exclusively that D&D Party and Monstars could not be won together.
Okay.
So
I go back to Nagash then. No, sorry, Nagash wins. It also had Kurdos, which is the bard in the party. It's funny. It's funnier that way. So and ABB always be on brand. Nagash wins. Sorry. So Nagash wins D&D Party.
There you go.
Nagash wins D&D. We got Alex G. On a super contentious Snowflake award.
It always is.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 names written down before I gave up on writing down names for Snowflake. Out of 35, and yeah, so and then Monstars, I think probably Tobin.
Okay.
And then I already did the best. Yeah. And then I win sports over Ty in a dramatic finish because he's late on day 2, so I go back to back. Nagash is 20 levels and everything awesome. Yeah, I mean he's probably a wizard necromancer. He'd certainly be a wizard because wizardry he had to study magic to gain magic. I mean he is a quintessential like lich god. He's actually more of a demi-lich than a pure lich. Because demi-liches, like, they have their, like, soul stuff. And his whole thing is, like, his body gets destroyed constantly, and the soul stuff, like, just floating around and reanimates itself, essentially. Were there other questions regarding these?
No, that was it. Because our show here is about the gaming side of it. Vince handled the painting. If you haven't gone to check it out, go to Warhammer Weekly, and he gives some really great advice on feedback on the handful of people that submitted their armies for painting. So, you know, that you watch these two together, or listen to these two together, you'll have experienced everything but the sportsmanship part of it. So, I don't have a podcast that captures that, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And in 45 minutes, I'm going to be recording Cubic Shenanigans with Dan and Jacob Berry, where we talk about, you know, what we think Dan's journey through Brew City would have looked like.
Yeah, the sports thing is really hard to. I mean, you go to an event where, like, Domus and Ty and Kyle and just some of the most glowing, Zach Lambie, some of the most glowing, best people you could ever possibly play are all there, and the only reason you win a best sports vote is because somebody played both Ty and, like, Domus, and they had to choose between one of those two, and you just happened to, like, luck sack into playing people who didn't have to choose between their, like, 3 favorite games or 5 favorite games of the day. It's hard, it's crazy, and there's really no way to game sports when you're talking about a field that loaded with great, just great gamers, you know? I do want to, before we kind of sign off here, I have a couple things I want to touch on. The first thing being, I am in awe of people's ability to come together, like, digitally in this kind of trying time to stay passionate and, like, think through what a whole tournament would have been and then still be like, yeah, that would have been sweet. And you just, like, kind of, we did the Adepticon at home doing like Three-oretical for BCB. Those things just, I feel really, like, touched and honored to be a part of this community. So I just wanted to kind of mention that. And Brendan, I think it's great that you did this and had, like, some hobby judging with Vince and stuff. So this is awesome. It's the next best thing, you know, and that's not so bad. I don't know if you have anything to add to that before I say some shameless shilling here.
I think that covers it. I mean, I've talked about it a bunch of times here. I'm really excited about what this would have been. I'm disappointed we weren't able to have it, but it just makes me more excited for, you know, what it is that we're going to be able to do, hopefully next year. And, you know, maybe it'll be even weirder because I'll have had to have been so antiseptic to be the Adepticon TO that I'll need to be extra weird and silly for, to kind of do that reset.
Yeah, like Adepticon, you got to kind of play it straight, right? Because you want just, like, a quintessential Warhammer experience for that. This is what a tournament, a baseline, sort of the fulcrum of what an Age of Sigmar tournament is at a competitive, or at a, not even just competitive, at a huge event like that. You want that fulcrum. Yeah. And so you get to be, like, freaking, you know, just topsy on either side and just kind of crazy with BCB and that BCB experience. And we will have Brew City Crawl as well. So anyone anyone in Chat Gang, if I can entice you to come to Brew City, it will be one of the best experiences with this community, playing games, and also in the city that stole my heart. You know,
I will not be at the bar crawl, but there will be plenty of excellent people, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, Milwaukee. I was nomadic. You know, I grew up in North Carolina, Minnesota, Wisconsin, New York City, even for a spell. I've been all around. I didn't feel home until I moved to Milwaukee. Some 10 years ago. You know, more than 10 years ago. Like, I found a home when I moved to Milwaukee. Both my kids were born there. I mean, that city, for as there are some stereotypes for Milwaukee, there's some stats on Milwaukee, they hold true, but there is something about when you meet the people, you're kind of about the town, like around like Halloween or 4th of July. There's these various like events that happen in Milwaukee, and when you're there, you get this like pure Milwaukee experience with just like great, mostly chill people. And I mean, I love the city. All the best people I've known, pretty much I've met or been or inhabited that space with at some point in my life. It's so yeah, the Milwaukee like. I'm gonna homer Milwaukee a little bit. I wasn't born there, but I found a home there, and so when you have how much I love Age of Sigmar and how much I love that community come together, I think it's just a great time. I mean, Gen Con was the Milwaukee experience for such a long time for me as well growing up. So I had fond memories of Milwaukee before I even moved there. Going to the rave for concerts and stuff, driving down to see My Life with a Thrill Kill Cult as a junior in high school. At the rave, getting free tickets and stuff for a under 18 show with like this weird over the top band, like all these awesome memories that like had primed me to like fall in love with Milwaukee when I finally moved there. Other people might dislike it for whatever reason, but the side of it I see is not pure rose tinted goggles. There was some, I know some of the ugly parts of the city too, but like, I mean, there's an opportunity there when you go to Brew City Brawl to like get a highlight of some of the best people and the best stuff. So that's my little pitch on that. And now time to be a shameless shill. So all through the month of May, I'm doing a giveaway sponsored by Soren from Chat Gang. He sent me about 1,500 points of Stormcast, gaming implements, dice, all the books you're gonna need, minus the potentially new GHB coming out. It's about 1,500 points of Stormcast. I think it's got like a crossbow raptors in it. It's got it's a couple of the start collectings, the halves of the various start collectings and stuff, or the various like box armies, plus some extra stuff thrown in. It is intended as a giveaway for new players and friends trying to get new players into the game. So if you are a new player watching RantCast, you hear about this giveaway, all you have to do to enter is leave a comment on any one of my YouTube videos throughout the month of May. It's a lot easier for me to track if it's a current video, so hopefully it's one of the ones that comes out in May. But I get all the notifications. I see that the easiest is just say, interested in the giveaway, tell me why you're interested in getting into Age of Sigmar, and you're automatically entered for a random draw at the end of May. After the month of May is over. I haven't quite written up my schedule yet, but I will be bracketing this whole event with the Ranties, which is my award ceremony. So I'm going to do an award ceremony. All of the guests that have been on RantCast since its inception are eligible for 10 coveted trophies across different categories. So the Ranties are happening. Awards for that have been provided by Kyle and his fiance. They're glass coasters. They'll have Ranties 2020 and then the name etched in them, basically. Yeah, so that's the Ranties, the giveaway. Again, the giveaway is for new players and people trying to get new players in. It's the honor system. I'm not going to... There are some of you I know aren't new players to Age of Sigmar. But if you've got a friend you're trying to get in, hey, I'm getting my friend X in, this is why I think they love Age of Sigmar. So be sure to leave that part of the comment. I want to know the why. Like, I want to know. I'm eternally curious. That's my superpower. And being dashingly handsome and being correct about things. Those are also my superpowers. So leave a comment on the YouTube videos. They'll enter you in. There'll be a random drawing during the Ranties after a month. So all through the month of May, comment, you will be entered. That's all I got, man. Brendan, what do you got?
Go listen to Cubic Shenanigans. It's the podcast that I'm on. We are a Games Workshop podcast, but me as the person on it, we do a lot of Age of Sigmar talking. If you're not familiar, go download, listen, subscribe, leave only positive comments. I'm not here for your negativity. But if you do have constructive feedback, I'm open to it. So that's what we do. Please check out Brewcity Brawl for what will hopefully be 2021, obviously pending the world not ending. And
Yeah, I mean, the zombies
yeah.
could show up anytime, and then you'll just see, like, Brendan surfing on a crowd of them as the Lord of Death. Like, so, like, it might be bad for the rest of us, but the Lord of Death, when the zombies finally show up, he's going to be fine. So,
If this turns into a scrap heap, I intend to be on top. Please follow me on Twitter so you can hear other insane ramblings from me and the like.
Right on, man. Thank you so much for doing the show with me. It was a blast. Chat gang, as always, you are the show within the show. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Great, excellent discussion all throughout. It was really great, kind of even spitballing with a lot of the chat gang through this, and you guys helped me out through this one. Actually, it was some of your discussion really helped frame my thought processes on making some of these decisions, especially picking awards at the end. So thank you so much for that. I can be bought, in other words. Good night, everybody.